Chapter 3274. Breaking Through and Creating the Tai Chi Dragon Plate. Buzz, buzz, buzz. In the Dragon Palace in the galaxy's starry sky, all the members of the Dragon Palace were cultivating. Within the Dragon King Hall, Wang Xian was similarly devouring large amounts of elixir pills and divine herbs. One by one, the elixir pills entered his stomach and were quickly converted into dragon energy. Time passed little by little. The dragon energy in Wang Xian's body was also increasing rapidly. His dragon body was also slowly growing. The huge dragon body gradually grew to about 70,000 meters. Every dragon scale emitted a dazzling light and an immense dragon might. Ding! Congratulations to host for leveling up and breaking through to rank 2 Universe Venerable. Ding! Congratulations to host for leveling up to level 2 Universe Venerable. You have comprehended the nomological Dharma, 8 Dragon Doppelganger. When Wang Xian's aura reached a critical point, a horrifying dragon aura swept across the surroundings. The system's voice could be heard at any time. He broke through. Name: Wang Xian. Race: Yin Yang 5 Elements Dragon, 1 with the Dragon, Level: Universe 2nd Order, Divine Dragon Transformation 9th Transformation, Origin: 1%, 99% required for next breakthrough, Magic: Dominate the aquatic creatures, dominate any aquatic creatures lower than your own level, devour living things to extract the source. Control of the 5 elements cultivation technique. Divine Dragon Transformation Divine Powers. Soul Capture, Spirit Attachment Nomological. Divine Abilities, Dragon Eye Lock, 5 Elements Dragon Claw, Yin Yang World Breaker, 8 Luminaries Dragon Scale, Holy Dragon Shadow, 8 Divisions of the Heavenly Dragon, Dragon Tomb, Soaring Cloud Dragon, True Dragon Body Dharma Form, 5 Elements Grindstone, Dragon Country in the Palm, Dragon Head Descending, 10,000-mile Dragon Body, Yin Yang Polarity, Yin Yang 5 Elemental Bowl, Divine Dragon Tail Whip, Dharma Idol, Octagonal Dragon Pillar, Octagonal Dragon Pillar Law of Mastery, Metal, Wood, Water, Fire, Earth, Light, Dark Wind Divine Kingdom, Dragon Palace Possess Dragon Palace, Acquired. Dragon Palace members. 11344550. A smile appeared on his face as he looked at the attributes in his mind. Universe Level 2. After this upgrade, he would have the combat power of a Universe Level 8. There are also many divine herbs and pills. The harvest this time is really huge. Looking at the remaining resources ahead, Wang Xian's eyes flickered. After the breakthrough, there were still half of the divine herbs and elixirs left. One could imagine how huge the harvest this time was. However, the remaining resources were not enough for him to level up. Next, I'll have to upgrade the 5 Elements Grindstone. With a flick of his palm, the 5 Elements Grindstone appeared in his hand, following which, postnatal cardinal treasures floated above the 5 Elements Grindstone. As the 5 Elements Grindstone revolved, it began to rapidly absorb the acquired treasures. The 5 Elements Grindstone should be able to raise its grade by 1 or 2 with 13 acquired treasures of the 5 elements. After the 5 Elements Grindstone devoured it, he took the ancient demonic pool, the angel wings, and the radiant sacred lotus. This was the Saint Wen clan's supreme treasure, a light-attributed treasure. Apart from these, there were also 2 magic dragon pearls, a skull, and a darkness-type armor. Whoosh whoosh. At this moment, 2 figures flew over quickly. These were his light and darkness avatars. Back on Earth, due to the dragon veins and dragon blood, as well as the great changes in the world, the 9 clones were formed. They were divided into 9 different elements. 5 clones were on the great grindstone of 5 elements, 2 were inside the unbeginning sacred wings, and the last 2. Let's give it a try. Let's hope it works. If it does, I'll have another powerful trump card. As he murmured, the 2 clones immediately turned into divine light and darkness dragons. They coiled together and formed a Tai Chi pattern. Whoosh whoosh. Wang Xian waved his arm and threw the radiant sacred lotus and a magic dragon pearl over. He took a look and saw that the 2 acquired cardinal treasures landed on the 2 clones. However, there was no reaction. The clones couldn't refine the powerful acquired cardinal treasures either. Wang Xian wasn't too surprised by this scene. Roar, roar. He let out a deep roar and opened his mouth slowly. A beating heart flew out slowly. Heart of Light and Darkness. The heart of the Light and Darkness Dragon King, who was once the most elite in the Divine Dragon clan. This heart was also the reason why Wang Xian could control the attributes of light and darkness. The heart was a perfect fusion of light and darkness. With a thought, the heart of light and darkness began to revolve slowly. He moved his palm and threw the radiant sacred lotus and magic dragon pearl onto the heart of light and darkness. The heart of light and darkness flowed as light and darkness rotated continuously. Success or failure depends on this. Wang Xian focused his eyes and stared closely. At the side, the two clones shot out the energy of light and darkness. They formed a pattern of yin and yang tai chi. Wang. Above the heart of light and darkness, the sudden addition of the acquired cardinal treasures was crushed due to the circulation of the terrifying energy of light and darkness. Ka ka ka. Sounds of collapsing reverberated. The two enormous acquired cardinal treasures were gradually collapsing and being converted into the source of light and darkness. Roar, roar. The two clones surrounded the heart of light and darkness immediately. The energy of light and darkness, converted by the acquired cardinal treasures, flowed into the bodies of the clones. This caused the aura of the two clones to become stronger and stronger. Wang Xian was pleasantly surprised when he saw this. He had succeeded, using the energy of the heart of light and darkness to obliterate the acquired cardinal treasures, allowing the energy of the acquired cardinal treasures to flow into the bodies of the light and darkness doppelgangers. This heart of light and darkness is at least an inborn cardinal treasure. Wang Xian mumbled to himself with excitement in his eyes. The two acquired cardinal treasures were gradually obliterated and absorbed by the clones. Wang Xian continued to place the other darkness attribute, acquired cardinal treasures, on top. The energy of the two clones grew stronger and stronger. Due to the acquired cardinal treasures, their bodies gradually formed the shape of yin and yang tai chi. As for the two clones, they took the initiative to separate themselves from their bodies and formed a spirit-like existence, leading the power of the Tai Chi Dragon Board. 2 days later, when Wang Xian had obliterated all 5 acquired cardinal treasures, a Tai Chi Dragon Board that spanned 10,000 meters floated above the Dragon King Hall. The light and darkness dragons were located at the eye of the Tai Chi Dragon Board and let out a roar. Around level 5 universe supremacy. The power of the Tai Chi Dragon Board is around that of a level 5 universe supremacy. However, the Tai Chi Dragon Board focuses on defense, making it even more terrifying in terms of defense. Wang Xian could feel the power of the Tai Chi Dragon Board and his eyes shone. Continue. Next, I don't need the help of the heart of light and darkness. With the power of the Tai Chi Dragon Board and the strength of the light and darkness doppelgangers, I can use the Tai Chi Dragon Board to obliterate the light and darkness attribute treasures and absorb them. He mumbled to himself as he turned his attention to the angel wings. The Radiance Angel Wings of the Universe Lord level was comparable to a weaker inborn spiritual treasure. Once absorbed, the Tai Chi Dragon Board would be greatly enhanced. Wang Xian waved his arm and placed the angel wings on the Tai Chi Dragon Board. The Tai Chi Dragon Board rotated and began to absorb the energy. Hence, a shocking scene unfolded in the Dragon King Hall. The 5 elements grindstone and the Tai Chi Dragon Board were absorbing the powerful treasures and evolving rapidly. Chapter 3275. Due to unknown reasons, Sogu is unable to find this site today. Please remember this site's domain name, Sea of Books, and find your way home. Time passed day by day. Since the Divine Dragon Lineage War, the Dragon Palace and the Water Dragon Palace had won. A month had passed quickly. During this month, the periphery of the continental starry sky was much quieter. However, inside the continental starry sky, at the edge of the chaotic continent, something big was happening. Some forces were preparing for a landing battle. A landing battle was a battle between races, and it was a battle between at least mid-level races in the universe. The landing battle would happen once every few decades or even a century. This frequency was already very high. After all, tens of millions of experts participated in each battle, and the more tragic battles involved hundreds of millions or even billions. The Dragon Palace did not pay much attention to what happened in the chaotic continent. During this month, The Dragon Palace did not have any contact with the outside world. It was all improving. I can't absorb the ancient demon's pool. The angel wings are soulless items. Although they are comparable to acquired cardinal treasures, they can still be absorbed. The ancient demon's pool is different. It is difficult to absorb. However, this is not bad. The defense of the Yin-Yang Dragon Board is terrifying enough. In the Dragon King Hall, Wang Xian looked at the two treasures floating in the air with a smile on his face. After absorbing more than a dozen acquired cardinal treasures, the 5 Elements Grindstone had reached the rank 8 universe supremacy. With the power of the 5 elements, it was not a problem to kill a rank 8 universe supremacy. As for the Tai Chi Dragon Board, after absorbing the power of light, it had become even more terrifying. Its defense could withstand the attack of a rank 9 universe supremacy. This was a universe level 9 venerable. In other words, a universe level 9 venerable would not be able to do anything to him. Under the effect of the Tai Chi Dragon coiling yin and yang, his defensive power was exceptionally terrifying. Wang Xian moved his palm, and the 5 Elements Grindstone entered his body. The Tai Chi Dragon Board rotated around him and gradually became illusory. The 5 Elements Grindstone was responsible for attack, while the Tai Chi Dragon Board was responsible for defense. It was very easy for him to kill a rank 8 universe supremacy. However, it would be difficult to defeat a rank 9 universe supremacy. After all, his attack power was not enough. In addition to these two treasures, there was another powerful treasure. It was the ancient oil lamp. From the last battle with the Demon Dragon Emperor, one could see how terrifying this oil lamp was. Without the ancient oil lamp, it would be impossible for Wang Xian to win. However, the oil lamp required energy to turn on, and it consumed a lot of energy. There was no need to use it unless it was a matter of life or death. The oil lamp consumes too much energy. However, I did not expect that dragon blood could also be used as lamp oil. Wang Xian mumbled to himself. He poured a considerable amount of dragon blood into the oil lamp and absorbed it into his body. These were currently his 3 strongest treasures. Dragon King, other than Aosia and a few others, the rest of the members of the Dragon Palace have finished upgrading. At this moment, Prime Minister Turtle walked in and reported respectfully. Oh, really? Let them gather in the dragon field. Wang Xian squinted his eyes and said immediately, It's Dragon King. Prime Minister Turtle immediately replied. Whoosh. Soon, Wang Xian arrived at the dragon field. Millions of members of the Dragon Palace had already gathered there. Even some logistics personnel were there. His eyes flickered as he glanced around. Greetings, Dragon King. All the members of the Dragon Palace greeted respectfully. Dragon King, there are 40,000 universe paragons among the disciples of the Dragon Palace. The weakest among the disciples is a void 8th Order God Emperor. Prime Minister Turtle walked forward and reported. In addition, there are 20,000 universe paragons among Aosia and his group of devouring dragons. The weakest among them is a void 6th Order God Emperor. He continued to add, Great. Wang Xian squinted his eyes. The harvest this time was not only the 10,000 universe paragons' corpses. There were also over 10 million flood dragon corpses. There were only 1 million members in the Dragon Palace. They had absorbed the energy of millions of elites from the 3 great dragon palaces, giving birth to a large number of experts. Many First Order universe paragons were created from the corpses of void god emperors. As for the devouring dragons, Aosia and the rest were still devouring in the Crimson Gold Battle Dragon Palace and the Wind Thunder Divine Dragon Palace. This was definitely a feast for the devouring dragons. Even if Aosia gave birth to another 1 million devouring dragons, the strength of the devouring dragons would still reach the 6th Order universe paragons and above. As for how strong Aosia could become, Wang Xian did not dare to guess. But it should not be any weaker than him. Within the Dragon Palace, there were over 60,000 universe paragons. Excluding Aosia, his subordinates, and Wang Xian, the strongest was Alma. He was also the Dragon Palace members who were resurrected using the corpse of the Devil Dragon Emperor. 3 purebred divine dragon corpses had been parasitized and resurrected by the members of the Dragon Palace. Other than Alma, there were the 6th Order universe paragons, Tianjun, Xiaolan, and Aohua. As for the other Dragon Palace leaders, The group of purebred divine dragons were all fifth-order universe paragons. The current Dragon Palace had too few top-notch members, and there was even a gap. All members must not slack off. Soon, our Dragon Palace will head to the chaotic continent. That is the center of the universe, in the true battlefield. Wang Xian reminded. After the advancement of the Dragon Palace, they had the strength to step into the chaotic continent. And the chaotic continent was known as the Holy Land by all the races in the universe. If the Dragon Palace wanted to continue advancing, they would have to step into the chaotic continent. Yes, Dragon King. All the members of the Dragon Palace answered. Wang Xian nodded and looked at Prime Minister Turtle. Send someone to check out the situation at the chaotic continent. We have to be prepared to land in advance. Yes, Prime Minister Turtle answered immediately. Familiarize yourself with your strength and train well. Laming, come over here. Wang Xian instructed. He moved and came to the Dragon King Hall. Laming moved and flew towards the Dragon King Hall immediately. Dragon King. Laming came to the Dragon King Hall and greeted respectfully. About the remaining 27 lightning feathers, do you know where they are? Wang Xian asked directly. The lightning feathers were part of the unbeginning sacred wings on his back. Now that he had gathered all the wind attribute wings, there were only 27 lightning attribute wings left. To Wang Xian, the 5 unbeginning sacred wings were very powerful. If he could find the remaining 27 wings, he would be able to control 9 attributes. And Laming also knew about the remaining lightning feathers. He had told Wang Xian that they were in the hands of an expert from the chaotic continent. Dragon King, the remaining lightning feathers are in the hands of the great elder of the Thunderlight Advanced Race. He was the one who took away my lightning feathers back then. Laming reported immediately. Chapter 3276, Landing Battle Advanced Lightning Race? Wang Xian raised an eyebrow upon hearing Laming's words. What do you know about the lightning race? Dragon King, the Thunder Light Race is not a human race. They were born in the thunderclouds of the chaotic continent when the heavens were opened. They are very powerful, and there are experts at the pinnacle of the universe supremacies in the race. As for their exact strength, I am not very clear. Laming reported immediately. Pinnacle universe supremacies? Wang Xian raised an eyebrow. All right, you may leave first. Yes. Laming nodded and left the Dragon King Hall. Wang Xian took out the universe AI and checked the strength of the lightning race. A race that was born in the chaotic continent wasn't something those races that had to land in the chaotic continent could match up to. A race, with a universe venerable level 8, with 30,000 universe venerables, would be able to rise to become a high-level race. However, there was a huge gap between the advanced races. There were even some advanced races that had universe lord-level combat power. Combat power and cultivation level were 2 different concepts. For example, Wang Xian was only a rank 2 universe supremacy, but he had rank 8 universe supremacy combat power. Of course, he was the only one in the universe to be able to surpass so many levels. Other than him, there were many creatures with special bloodlines and physiques that could surpass levels. For example, if an advanced race expert could surpass 2 levels, then when he reached the pinnacle universe supremacy, he would be able to match universe lords. However, they couldn't be rated as the top race in the universe. To step into the top race in the universe, one had to reach the universe lord level, not combat power. This resulted in a huge gap between the advanced races. Those that had universe lord level combat power, and those that didn't were worlds apart. The lightning race wasn't strong among the advanced races, but they weren't weak either. I have to think of a way to get those 27 lightning feathers. Wang Xian pondered. He had a hunch that if he had 9 attributes, he would be able to improve tremendously. If he could even fuse all 9 attributes, that would be even more impressive. At this moment, Wang Xian, who was checking the universe AI, suddenly saw a message. He raised an eyebrow. Landing battle. Over at the continent encirclement galaxy, there were forces conducting landing battles. I can go take a look myself? Wang Xian hesitated for a moment and thought to himself. He was also very curious about the landing battle. For all the forces in Starry Sky, the landing battle was a huge challenge for a race, but it was also a huge opportunity. If they succeeded, they would be able to enter a whole new world. However, if they failed, they might be exterminated. The landing battle was exceptionally cruel. Even the divine dragon bloodlines, Fire Dragon Palace and Demonic Dragon Bloodline, didn't recklessly attempt to land. Instead, they were accumulating their strength. Prime Minister Turtle, I'll leave the Dragon Palace to you. He transmitted his voice to the Turtle Minister. With a flash, he immediately headed outside. Crash! The unbeginning saint wings unfurled. Now that Wang Xian had made a breakthrough in his strength, he could burst forth with the speed of a level 9 universe supremacy with the unbeginning saint wings. He shuttled through the starry sky. Currently, there were only a few people in the surrounding starry sky that could clearly see his speed. However, the Star River starry sky was very far away from the great desolate continent. Even with Wang Xian's speed, if he were to fly, he would still need a month's time. After arriving at the continent encirclement starry sky, he checked the route and hurried on with the teleportation array. Even so, it took him 10 days to arrive at the starry sky closest to the great desolate continent. When he walked out of the teleportation array, he felt that the surroundings were bustling. Sweeping his gaze across, there were all kinds of creatures in the surrounding starry sky. Not only were there various kinds of humans, but there were also various kinds of beasts, plant-type creatures, element-type creatures, and even many mechanical and skeletal creatures. There were all kinds of forms and life forms existing. Other than the various kinds of creatures, there were also a large number of aircrafts. The entire starry sky was bustling. In the surroundings, there were no conflicts between the creatures. This was the border between the continent encirclement starry sky and the great desolate continent. It was also the battlefield of the landing battle. The landing battle had yet to begin, but because of this battle, countless experts from various forces had gathered. It attracted the attention of countless people. To many experts from various races, this was a feast. The reason why no one rashly started a conflict was because there were too many experts here. It was possible that a fight between two creatures would incur the displeasure of an expert, who would kill you casually. Therefore, in this place, the unspoken rule was to not fight if possible. It's really lively. Sweeping my gaze across, there is one universe supremacy among 100 people. There are so many experts. Wang Xian looked around and sighed in his heart. The Star River starry sky could not be compared to this place. The Dragon Palace will be transferred here in the next few months, he thought to himself. The Dragon Palace would also be carrying out the landing battle soon. The Orthodox God races are finally going to carry out the landing battle. Currently, in our continent encirclement starry sky, the Orthodox God races are undoubtedly number 1 in terms of strength, but they have been dragging it out until now. I guess they want to choose a good grotto heaven, but I wonder which force the Orthodox God races will choose to challenge. Given the strength of the Orthodox God races, they should be able to land easily by choosing a marginal force. After all, the Orthodox God races have 2 rank 7 universe supremacies. At this moment, voices of discussion could be heard. Wang Xian's eyes lit up when he heard this. The Orthodox God races were now known as the strongest force in the continent encirclement starry sky. A universe venerable with a level 7 combat power had a strong foundation. The disciples of this race had very strong physiques, and they could fight 2 ranks higher than them. They were undoubtedly the kings of the continent encirclement starry sky. Given their strength, it would be very easy for them to step into the heaven-splitting chaotic continent. But obviously, they wanted to enter deeper into the heaven-splitting chaotic continent and occupy better grotto heaven and grotto heaven. There were rules for the landing battle, set by the peak races of the universe. Once the landing was successful and they entered the heaven-splitting chaotic continent, they would be protected for 2,000 years. Within 2,000 years, other forces could not attack them. Similarly, they could not attack other forces within 2,000 years. Of course, they could also choose not to be protected. In this case, the forces of the continent encirclement starry sky could continue to challenge them. This force could also attack other forces around it. This rule was only limited to the furthest edge of the heaven-splitting chaotic continent. Chapter 3277. The Great Desolate Continent had its own rules, which were set by experts and peak races. There were not many rules, but no one could violate them. Once a faction entered the Great Desolate Continent, it was forbidden for them to attack or plunder the forces outside the Great Desolate Continent. This was an iron law. It was also a form of protection that the stronger forces had for the weaker forces. It was also to ensure that there would be an endless stream of experts. If there was no such rule, the forces on this side of the continent encirclement starry sky might have long been annihilated. After all, many races could use the flesh and blood of other living beings to enhance themselves. The landing battle will begin in 10 days. I'll walk around here by myself first. Wang Xian muttered to himself as he looked at the information on the artificial intelligence. 10 days later, the righteous god races would be challenged. At present, the race that needed to be challenged had not been announced. Wang Xian was prepared to observe this battle and prepare for the landing battle at the Dragon Palace. Scanning his surroundings, Wang Xian flew towards the void ahead. This part of the starry sky was unusually lively because the landing battle was about to begin. Many huge continents were floating around, and some of them were even holding auctions. There were also some experts who took advantage of this time to set up stalls to trade their treasures. This made the surroundings look unusually prosperous. Wang Xian flew aimlessly to some of the continents to see if there were any treasures. He didn't feel bored even after walking for more than 10 hours. There were all kinds of items and all kinds of races. It was an eye-opener for him. Boom, boom, boom. More than 10 hours later, a powerful aura came over. Wang Xian sensed the aura and was taken aback. He looked to the side. This is the ancient sea race. His eyes flickered as he looked over. The ancient sea race was a famous race in the surrounding starry heavens. It was also the race with the most giant star beasts. They had over 100 star swan beasts. Over 100 space beasts. The weakest had the combat power of a rank 4 universe venerable. Because it was a giant star beast, its battle prowess was even more terrifying among its peers. The ancient sea races were second only to the righteous god races. They controlled 10 universe venerable rank 6 space beasts. Right now, in the continental encirclement starry heavens, the main god races ranked first, and the ancient sea races ranked second. Now, after the Water Dragon Palace and the Fire Dragon Palace annihilated the Demon Dragon lineage, the Dragon Palace's strength was ranked third by some people. The main reason was that no one had seen the exact situation of the war between the divine dragons. This was also because the strongest of the divine dragon lineage in the continent encircling starry sky was only a 5th-order universe venerable. In Wang Xian's line of sight, 20 stellar beasts were dragging a humongous continent towards him. That continent was comparable to a star, and the smallest of the 20 space beasts was 100,000 meters long. They exuded a terrifying aura as they rushed over. The Gu Hai race is here. The Gu Hai race focuses on business. They should not give up on this opportunity. They will probably hold some auctions or auction off some items. TSK. Now that the ancient sea race is here, we can go over and see if there are any treasures. With the strength of the ancient sea race, they can also enter the great desolate continent. Voices of discussion could be heard from the surrounding area. Wang Xian nodded his head slightly upon hearing this. According to the rules of the Great Desolate Continent, the forces that entered the Great Desolate Continent were forbidden from attacking the forces in the continent encircling starry sky. Similarly, the forces of the Great Desolate Continent were forbidden from conducting large-scale operations in the continent encircling starry sky. Otherwise, given their strength, they could completely suppress others. Therefore, once they entered the Great Desolate Continent, they were forbidden from doing business in the continent encircling starry sky. The ancient sea race mainly held auctions and sold all sorts of items. They had many assets in the continent encircling starry sky. If they entered the Great Desolate Continent, they would have to give up on these assets. And with their strength, entering the Great Desolate Continent would only be the tail of a phoenix. They did not have the strength to do business. Therefore, they had not entered the continent encircling starry sky. Perhaps they would only consider entering the continent encircling starry sky after their race produced a 7th-order universe venerable. The ancient sea race has issued a notice on the universe AI. They will be holding an auction in 5 days. Brothers who want to auction off items can go to them. As expected, TSK, TSK, TSK. Let's go to the ancient sea races continent. At this time, voices came from the surroundings again. Wang Xian raised his eyebrows. He hesitated for a moment before flying towards the ancient sea races continent. The ancient sea races continent was open to everyone. There were hotels, restaurants, and all sorts of entertainment and resting areas. There were also many markets and shops. If it's an auction, I can go take a look. I have many useless treasures with me. I can consider selling them and exchanging them for other resources. Wang Xian thought to himself. He did have many treasures now. Just the acquired spiritual treasures alone had many. Among them, many members of the acquired spiritual treasure Dragon Palace had no use for them. Therefore, he was prepared to sell them in exchange for other treasures or resources. With a flash, he flew towards the ancient sea races continent. Not only him, but many people around him also flew towards the continent. Entering the ancient sea races continent, flying and fighting are prohibited. Otherwise, you will be killed. Wang Xian entered and heard a voice. He landed on the ground and took out the universe AI to check the map of the continent. Then, he quickly walked towards the center. TSK, this continent is really prosperous. Walking on the continent, he mumbled to himself as he looked at all sorts of entertainment and shops. When he arrived at a hotel, Wang Xian booked a room and prepared to rest here for the next few days. Subsequently, he walked towards the ancient sea auction house according to the map. The ancient sea auction house was extremely grand. This wasn't an auction house in a single room. Instead, it was an auction house formed by countless tiny mountains. The main peak was 100 meters in size. Surrounding it were hundreds of thousands of mountains that were only a dozen meters wide. From afar, these mountains looked like pillars with seats on them. The tiny mountains were hundreds of thousands of meters tall. The entire auction house occupied an area of about 1,000 square kilometers. It was enough for millions of people to bid at the same time. Wang Xian followed the instructions and arrived at the auction house. Our ancient sea auction house is the most reliable auction house in subcontinent encirclement starry sky. May I know what you would like to auction? A middle-aged man asked Wang Xian with a smile when he came to a cave. Chapter 3278. Arrogant righteous god-domineering Gu Haizhong, auction acquired spiritual treasures. Wang Xian looked at the middle-aged man and said, the Gu Hai race had a good reputation in the universe AI. He was prepared to sell some acquired spiritual treasures. This time, he had obtained more than 100 acquired spiritual treasures, which the members of the Dragon Palace would not be able to use for 20 to 30 years. Among them, there were a few acquired spiritual treasures with metal attributes, water attributes, and light attributes. However, he naturally could not auction all the acquired spiritual treasures. It was not that he could not sell them, but acquired spiritual treasures were already considered powerful treasures to the supremacies of the universe. Even an acquired spiritual treasure was enough for hundreds of supremacies to fight for it. After all, this time, the Dragon Palace had obtained more than 100 acquired spiritual treasures. This was the accumulation of the demonic dragon lineage, Fire Dragon Palace, Crimson Gold Battle Dragon, Tempest Divine Dragon lineage, and the Saintwan clan. 4 powerful races and close to 20,000 supremacies of the universe only had 132 acquired spiritual treasures. This ratio was very low. One could imagine how precious acquired spiritual treasures were. This was only for those from the divine dragon lineage who had great opportunities. The other races had even fewer acquired spiritual treasures. Acquired spiritual treasures? The middle-aged man was slightly shocked when he heard Wang Xian. With a respectful expression, he said, Sir, please wait for a moment. I'll invite our supervisor over. Sir, this way please. As he spoke, he brought Wang Xian to a place to sit down. Wang Xian nodded. Is this customer here to auction acquired spiritual treasures? Soon, a supremacy-level old man walked over and confirmed with Wang Xian. That's right. 5 acquired spiritual treasures. Wang Xian did not beat around the bush and took out the 5 acquired spiritual treasures. 3 were of the metal attribute and 2 of the light attribute. 5. Seeing the 5 acquired spiritual treasures, The old man from the Gu Hai race was slightly stunned. His eyes were burning with excitement. Great. Thank you for your trust in the Gu Hai race. The old man quickly said as he stared at the 5 acquired spiritual treasures. A single acquired soul treasure could be the finale treasure of this auction, let alone 5 of them. This customer, this is the proof of our Gu Hai race's auction. Our Gu Hai race will record a portion of this information into the universe's AI and be monitored by everyone in the universe. The old man from the Gu Hai race handed over a jade token. Wang Xian nodded his head. Business mainly relied on credibility, especially this kind of auction house. If they didn't have credibility, no one would consign their items to them. As for the proof, the Gu Hai race would send the auction proof of the bidders to the universe AI. Once Gu Hai's race doesn't pay the auctioneer can directly expose it on the universe's AI. The Gu Hai race was very strong. They would not go so far as to destroy their reputation over 5 acquired spirit treasures. Of course, it would be a different story if Wang Xian took out 20 to 30 of them at once. If you auction it at our Gu Hai race auction house, we will take 5% of the auction price. Also, this customer, this is a seat at our auction house. We are giving it to you for free. The old man said enthusiastically. Those who could take out 5 acquired spiritual treasures at once were all people with great luck, and their strength was definitely not weak. All right. Wang Xian nodded his head in satisfaction before leaving. He strolled around the surroundings and looked at some shops. On this Gu Hai race continent, there were all sorts of items for sale. Technology items, fantasy items, battle pets, mecha, and so on. Wang Xian strolled around and didn't find anything of use to him. Hence, he gave up. Currently, it was extremely rare to find treasures that were useful to him in this part of the starry sky. Wang Xian returned to the hotel and rested. In the next few days, other than strolling around occasionally, he read the information on the universe AI. As the battle of the orthodox god races got closer, the number of people in the surrounding starry sky also increased. And the number of people on the Gu Hai race continent also increased. The hype for the auction that was going to be held in a few days was also growing. It was especially so when the Gu Hai race auction house announced that at least 5 acquired spirit treasures would be auctioned at the auction. This attracted many experts. The orthodox god races are here. All the experts from the orthodox god races are here. On the 4th day, there was a sudden commotion outside and on the universe AI. Wang Xian opened the window of his room and was slightly stunned when he heard the commotion outside. He squinted his eyes and walked out of the room immediately. He looked towards the starry sky outside. When he saw the orthodox god races, he revealed a shocked expression. The leader of the group was an incomparably huge statue, which was wearing armor. The entire statue was 100 kilometers in size. He had the appearance of a human with a wide face and was filled with majesty. However, his skin was golden. On the 2 sides of the statue that was 100 kilometers in size, there were over 10 similar statues that were about 50 kilometers in size. This was the combat body forged by the orthodox god races. The combat body was similar to the battle angel. The orthodox god races were a race with powerful physiques. Their powerful physiques allowed them to fight against those 2 levels higher. The divine dragon was a bloodline race. In the universe, there was a race with powerful physiques. They belonged to the peak races. That was the sage race. The sage body of the sage race could fight against those 3 levels higher, comparable to the divine dragon. Behind this group of combat bodies, there were millions of experts from the orthodox god races. The weakest among them was at the void god emperor realm. Their bodies were emitting golden radiance. And behind them, there were all sorts of war machines, battleships, mechas, battleships, etc. There were hundreds of thousands of them. Is this the full strength of the orthodox god races? Orthodox god combat bodies, so many of them. Didn't they say that the orthodox god races only have 10 combat bodies? There should be a total of 30 of them, and the combat body in the middle is too horrifying. For this battle, the orthodox god races have brought out all their trump cards and strength. This is too horrifying. The leading combat body has such a strong aura. It should not be any weaker than a rank 7 universe venerable. This time, The Orthodox god races are going to challenge any race in the chaotic continent. With such horrifying strength, the one being challenged will probably surrender directly, right? On the continent of the ancient sea race, everyone looked towards the distant starry sky. Looking at the legion of the Orthodox god races, their faces were filled with astonishment. They are indeed strong. Wang Xian looked over with his eyes shining. He could sense that there were more than 10,000 universe venerables. This might just be a portion of them. There might be more hidden in the dark. Wang Xian could sense that the leading Orthodox god combat body had the combat power of a rank 7 universe venerable. No wonder they are known as the strongest force in the continental encirclement starry sky. Wang Xian murmured. Chapter 3279. The resources of the Orthodox god races were extraordinary. They had powerful Orthodox god bodies and a large number of venerables in the universe. All of them are impressive. The ancient sea race is also very strong. Each of their giant beasts is terrifying. No wonder the Dragon Palace and Water Dragon Palace are only ranked 3rd even after annihilating the demonic dragon lineage and the Shengwen clan. Wang Xian murmured as he watched the experts from the Orthodox god races fly forward. Around them, countless people were looking at them in awe. I heard that the ancient sea race will be holding a large-scale auction tomorrow. There will be many acquired spiritual treasures for sale. At the same time, a dozen figures were standing on a canvas in the center of the Orthodox god races. A sloppy-looking old man holding a wine pot asked as he took a sip of wine. I think so. According to their announcement on the Universe AI, there are already no less than 8 acquired treasures. A middle-aged man nodded. Let me ask what treasures they are. If there are treasures that we can use, we can make a trip there tomorrow. An old woman on the right said plainly. Haha, I have already sold all my belongings for some treasures for this battle. I don't have the money to participate in the auction. Old wine, you have quite a number of divine stones now. You can exchange them for combat strength, just in case. An old man with bulging muscles on the left said with a hearty laugh. That's what I was thinking. This time, we are challenging the giant mountain race with close combat strength. They are not weak. I still want to live for hundreds of millions of years. Hee, let's ask if there are any treasures. If there are any good treasures, we can go and have a look tomorrow. The old man holding the wine pot said with a smile. I got the news. 7 acquired spiritual treasures, 1 with fire attribute, 1 with water attribute, and 2 with light attribute. None of them are useful to us. Besides, there are 3 gold attribute treasures. One of them is a gold attribute battle armor. TSK, this battle armor is very powerful. It's one of the best acquired spiritual treasures. Even I want to buy it. Soon, the old woman raised her eyebrows and said in surprise, Oh, there are 3 gold attribute treasures? And there is a gold attribute battle armor? Not bad, not bad. I'll go there tomorrow. The old man holding the flagon said. However, there are 3 metal elemental acquired spiritual treasures. I guess there will be quite a few people going. Haha, even if a lot of people go, many clansmen will give you face. The middle-aged man said with a smile. Haha, looks like this old face of mine is worth some money. The old man, who was the wine pot, laughed loudly. The group of cultivators from the Orthodox god clans continued forward. Half an hour later, they stopped in the void to reorganize themselves, ready to fight at any time. Although they were very strong, they did not dare to be careless when facing the races of the great desolate continent. The arrival of the righteous god clans caused a huge commotion. The entire starry sky was discussing the strength of the righteous god races. Time passed bit by bit, and a day passed in the blink of an eye. The next day was the day of the ancient sea races auction. The battle between the righteous god races had attracted nearly all the experts in the starry heavens. By the afternoon of the 5th day, the ancient sea race auction house announced that 8 acquired spirit treasures had been auctioned. 8 acquired spirit treasures had attracted countless experts to participate in this auction. In the morning, countless people flew towards the auction house. In the morning, Wang Xian also flew towards the auction house with many small mountains. When he arrived at the auction house, he took a jade token and went to a mountain close to the front. As the auctioneer of 5 acquired spiritual treasures, he naturally had to enjoy the best treatment. In the space of a few hundred square meters, there were some tables and chairs, as well as some delicacies. Wang Xian sat there, looked around, and waited quietly. Swish, swish, swish. In the surrounding area, many figures were flying towards them at high speed. Experts from different races formed groups of 3 to 5, and some even had hundreds of people in a group. The ones leading them were all universe supremacies. As Wang Xian looked around, those who stepped onto the mountain peaks were basically universe supremacies. One could imagine how many experts had been attracted by this battle. Wang Xian sat there and waited quietly. Huh. Experts from the orthodox god races are here? And there are quite a number of them. Are they here to participate in this auction? At this moment, a surprised voice was heard. Wang Xian looked over, and his eyes flickered. It was easy to recognize the people from the orthodox god races. Each of them was about 5 meters tall. They exuded a strong aura of blood and qi, giving off a strong impact. Some experts from the orthodox god races were even emitting golden radiance. They charged over, and the surrounding people immediately made way for them. Looking around, thousands of experts from the orthodox god races came to the first few mountain peaks, not far from where Wang Xian was. The arrival of the experts from the orthodox god races attracted everyone's attention. Most of the people were filled with respect. This was because the orthodox god races were likely to set foot on the chaotic continent. Wang Xian wasn't too concerned and waited for the auction to begin. Half an hour later, a series of roars could be heard, accompanied by a barbaric power. Huh. Wang Xian looked over, and he was shocked. In the surroundings, 20 mastiffs of the starry sky were flying over from all directions, slowly surrounding the entire auction house. The huge galactic beasts swept their cold eyes across everyone. Swish, swish, swish. Just at this moment, the experts of the ancient sea race flew over and landed on the auction platform. 20 galactic beasts guarded the surroundings. How generous! Welcome to our ancient sea race auction. Haha, it's our honor. An old man in white stood in the middle of the auction stage, laughed heartily, and extended his arms. Everyone should be clear about the rules of our ancient sea race auction. The highest bidder wins. Bidders can choose to hide their identities, and our ancient sea race will ensure your safety. If anyone dares to cause trouble, we'll kill them. Of course, our ancient sea race values harmony. I'll cut to the chase. Let the auction begin. As the old man in white spoke, he clapped his hands. This time, our auction will be very grand. First, we'll start with an acquired spiritual treasure. As he spoke, a beautiful lady carried a box over. When the box was opened, a light-attributed acquired spiritual treasure was revealed. Starting with a heaven spiritual treasure. How generous! Haha, there must be many good items this time. Let's see if we can get anything. Chapter 3280. An acquired spiritual treasure. As the opening act caused many people to reveal excited expressions. Auctions with acquired soul treasures were very rare. If there was, then the items auctioned this time would definitely be very generous. The atmosphere in the auction house was instantly ignited. The first item is my auction item. Wang Xian looked at the first item with a smile. This was a light-attributed staff. To light-attributed universe supremacies, it was definitely a rare treasure, especially for rank 1 or 2 universe supremacies. With this acquired soul treasure, they could easily crush others of the same level. The starting bid is 1 unit of Calamity Divine Stones. You can pay with elixirs and herbs of the same price. The Gu Hai race's white-robed old man continued. Calamity Divine Stones represented time, and also represented a unit of measurement. 1 unit of Calamity Divine Stones was equivalent to the divine stones produced by a peak-grade planet over 6 billion years. 1 unit of Calamity Divine Stones can buy divine herbs and elixirs. This can increase the combat power of a rank 5 universe supremacy. Wang Xian muttered. This was a very generous amount of resources. 1 unit of Calamity Divine Stones. 1 unit of Calamity Divine Stones. As Wang Xian was thinking, the auction had already started. The light-attributed universe supremacies all raised their bids with burning eyes. Weapons at the level of acquired spiritual treasures were still very popular. There were hundreds of thousands of universe supremacies present at this auction. Among them, there were many light-attributed ones. The intense competition had begun. Acquired soul treasures were very precious in the continental encirclement galaxy. To some of the smaller universe races, an acquired soul treasure was their clan's treasure. And to the stronger races, acquired soul treasures were mostly heritage treasures. This light-attributed acquired soul treasure took a full 10 minutes to complete the auction, and the price reached 8 units of Calamity Divine Stones. Finally, it was won by a butterfly-like demon race Great Demon. Not bad, not bad. 8 units of Calamity Divine Stones can increase the combat power of 8 rank 5 universe supremacies. Wang Xian was very satisfied with the price. He had auctioned 5 acquired soul treasures. If he used these resources, he could increase the combat power of 3 to 4 rank 6 universe supremacies. Currently, Dragon Palace lacked high-end combat power. I'll find an opportunity to sell the rest of the acquired soul treasures, he murmured. Then, the auction continued, but compared to the first item, the price of the next item was much lower. One by one, the items were auctioned off. Wang Xian looked around, but there was nothing that caught his eye. Based on the information from the Gu Hai race, acquired spirit treasures are trump cards. In that case, they probably do not have any treasures that they can use. Furthermore, the chances of finding something good are even smaller. Wang Xian thought to himself. They were all powerhouses who had lived for hundreds of millions of years, and forces that had existed for billions of years. The chances of finding treasures here were close to zero. I want this golden robe. I hope everyone can give me some face. Towards the end of the auction, Wang Xian basically only took a glance before looking at the universe's AI. At this moment, a voice sounded, causing him to raise his eyebrows slightly and look over. Many people in the auction hall also looked toward the voice. The voice came from the foremost position. It came from the mouth of a level 1 universe venerable from a righteous god race. Since this brother from the righteous god race wants it, I won't fight with you for it. Another voice came from behind. A plant-type old man cupped his fists at the bidder from the righteous god race in front. Many thanks. The bidder from the righteous god race said plainly, lifting his head slightly. Congratulations to this friend from the righteous god race. Let's continue with the next item. The white-robed old man from the Gu Hai race in front continued with a smile. Damn. I consigned this golden robe for auction, and now it's sold at a lower price than the market price. Shut up. If you don't want to die, stop talking nonsense. Let that guy from the righteous god race buy it. Let's not offend the righteous god race. They're going to land soon. If you provoke them, they won't care about the rules of the continental starry sky. They can't do anything even if they kill you. At this moment, Wang Xian vaguely heard a voice coming from a mountain peak behind him. He raised his eyebrows slightly and didn't pay much attention to it. The auction continued. 3 hours later, it was time for the finale items. 7 acquired soul treasures. The first finale item was still consigned by Wang Xian. It was also an acquired soul treasure of the light attribute. After a round of bidding, the price was 7. 5 level 2 divine stones. Wang Xian was still satisfied with it. The second finale item was an acquired soul treasure of the fire attribute. It was bid at 9 tribulation divine stones. This gave Wang Xian a rough understanding of acquired soul treasures. The price should be between 7 to 10 tribulation divine stones. The next item is a gold attribute acquired soul treasure, the golden all of the void. It's a horrifying offensive spiritual treasure. The starting price is still 1 tribulation divine stone. Let's start the bidding. The white-robed old man said with a smile on the auction stage, 5 tribulation divine stones. Someone made a bid as soon as the auction started. Clearly, they understood that 3 or 4 tribulation divine stones would not be enough to get an acquired soul treasure. Therefore, some supremacies raised the price to 5 tribulation divine stones. 5 tribulation divine stones for 1 tribulation divine stone. I'm taking this acquired soul treasure. Please give me, Jin Zhengfa, some face. As soon as he finished his sentence, a beam of golden light shot up to the sky. His voice was loud and clear, reaching everyone's ears. However, What he said was extremely arrogant and domineering. 5 tribulation divine stones for 1 tribulation divine stone was way too low. One should know that 1 tribulation divine stone was a considerable amount of resources. The voice of the expert from an orthodox god race immediately made those who wanted to bid frown. The white-robed old man was slightly taken aback. He pursed his lips and did not say a word. The expert from an orthodox god race was so domineering that they could not do anything about it. Moreover, all the experts from the orthodox god race were not far away. When Wang Xian heard his bid, he frowned. He was the one who had consigned this acquired soul treasure. If he sold it for 5 tribulation divine stones, he would suffer a huge loss. Haha, in that case, thank you for letting me have it. However, in the next moment, the expert from an orthodox god race turned around, cupped his fists, and laughed heartily. He had decided the ownership of this gold attribute spiritual treasure in a domineering manner. All the experts in the auction saw the golden light on his body and felt his might. Although he only had the strength of a rank for universe supremacy, he did not say anything. No one dared to compete with him. This was also to show respect to the orthodox god race and to show their fear of them. Even the old man who had just raised the bid did not dare to raise the price again. All right, congratulations to the lord from the orthodox god race for obtaining this void golden all. On the auction stage, the white-robed old man from the Gu Hai race hesitated for a while before he spoke with a smile. Huh. Wang Xian frowned slightly when he saw this. Chapter 3281. An acquired spiritual treasure, void golden all, was sold at 1 tribulation divine stones. The next item is a water attribute acquired spiritual treasure. This time, we will start the bidding at 5 tribulation divine stones. At this time, the auction continued. Wang Xian took a sip of his tea without saying a word. The water-attributed acquired spirit treasure was being auctioned off at 5 tribulation divine stones this time. Immediately, the universe supremacy started bidding. The price of this acquired spiritual treasure was rising rapidly. Soon, the price reached 8 tribulation divine stones. In the end, this water attribute acquired spiritual treasure was sold for 7 tribulation divine stones. It was the highest price among all the acquired spiritual treasures. In the auction of the ancient sea race, they would auction the acquired spiritual treasures in sequence according to their strength. Since the price of this acquired spiritual treasure was so high, the price of the next 2 acquired spiritual treasures would definitely not be low either. The price is quite high now. At the same time, dozens of middle-aged and old men were sitting on one of the mountain peaks in the middle of the auction. The old man holding the wine pot in the middle frowned slightly when he saw the price of the acquired spiritual treasure. He pursed his lips and smiled faintly. Hee, old wine. Just now, Jin Zhengfa, that brat, used 1 tribulation god stones to obtain an acquired spiritual treasure. You can do it too. The old woman beside him said with a smile. That's right. Anyway, we will be entering the chaotic continent after today. Why should we care about other things? If anyone is not satisfied, we will just kill them. Hee. A middle-aged man behind him said plainly. Yeah, it's the owner's honor to have that treasure follow me. Haha. The old man holding the wine pot laughed and said, Old wine, I heard that a clan leader wants the next acquired spiritual treasure and wants to bid 5 tribulation divine stones for it. A middle-aged man said to the old man holding the wine pot after hearing the news from the neighboring mountain peak. I don't care what they want. Tell them that I want the last acquired spiritual treasure armor. The old man holding the wine pot said with a smile. All right, I'll inform them. Elder Geo, no one will compete with you for this. The middle-aged man said with a smile. Gulp. The old man holding the wine pot smiled and took a sip of wine, his face full of smiles. Since they had decided to take this acquired spiritual treasure, no one would compete with them. All right, the next item is the second last acquired spiritual treasure. It's also a metal attribute acquired spiritual treasure, a glove-type spiritual treasure. The starting price is 5 tribulation god stones. At this moment, the ancient high race's white-clad old man smiled at the acquired spirit treasure that he brought over. 5 calamity god stones. This acquired spiritual treasure is mine. Right after the Gu Hai race's white-clad old man spoke, an old man on a mountain peak near the auction platform stood up indifferently and said in an unquestionable tone, "Let's go." His words caused everyone to be slightly stunned again. One of the experts from the righteous gods has made another move. They still want to buy it at a low price. The righteous gods are too powerful. They don't care about the feelings of others at all. Obviously, the righteous gods think they are going to enter the chaotic continent. Therefore, they don't care about their status. I guess they will attack anyone who dares to compete with them. That's possible. After all, they are too powerful. We'd better not compete with them. However, I'm afraid the consignor is going to be in trouble. In the auction hall, everyone was shocked when they saw the expert from the righteous gods making a move. They discussed softly. No one dared to compete with them. Seeing this, Wang Xian squinted his eyes. Are they going to bid at a low price again? This caused his gaze to slowly turn cold. If no one is bidding for it, congratulations to this expert from the righteous gods. The ancient high race's white-clad old man smiled and said decisively, selling it at 5 calamity god stones? The consignor is going to suffer a great loss. The people from the righteous gods are too much. They are too much. The figure who sold the golden woven clothes said furiously. When Wang Xian saw Gu Hai's tribe calming down once again, he stood up slowly. Ancient high race, is this your auction hall? I didn't say anything when I sold a metal attribute, acquired spiritual treasure at a low price. Now, you are bidding for this acquired spiritual treasure at the same price? Do you think I, the consignor, can be easily bullied? He stood up, stared at the white-clad old man on the auction stage, and questioned him expressionlessly. Wang Xian stood up suddenly. His questioning voice reverberated throughout the auction hall, shocking everyone. That person is the consignor of the acquired spiritual treasure? That item just now was also his? The bidder is here, and he even questioned us directly. In the auction hall, everyone's eyes fell on Wang Xian with flickering eyes. Now, the consignor was displeased. Moreover, they hadn't expected that the metal attribute acquired spiritual treasure from before would also belong to him. The ancient high race's white-clad old man on the stage was taken aback. Subsequently, he smiled. My friend, our ancient high race auction hall is conducting the auction according to the rules. If no one is bidding, we will make the deal at the final price. Our ancient high race is not at fault. The ancient high race's white-clad old man replied plainly. Just like what he said, the ancient high race did not violate the rules. It was just that no one dared to increase the bid. What has this got to do with us? Although his words were reasonable, everyone knew that they were trying to shirk responsibility. Oh, is that so? In that case, I won't be selling the acquired spiritual treasure that I consigned. Wang Xian said plainly. This is against the rules. The auction has already started, and it's not a place where you can simply take back your consigned item. Otherwise, how are we going to conduct the auction? The white-clad old man said with a smile. Oh, if that's the case, I'll increase the bid myself. Now, I'm auctioning this item for 10 calamity divine stones. Wang Xian cracked a smile and looked a little creepy. I'm sorry, the price for this acquired spiritual treasure has already been finalized. The white-clad old man shook his head and spoke with regret. Now, he knew that the ancient high race had offended this customer. However, there was nothing they could do. Between the orthodox god races and this customer, they naturally knew how to choose. Moreover, the ancient high race was also acting according to the rules of the auction. If they wanted to seek trouble, they would go to the orthodox god races and see how they would die. The white-clad old man smiled and wasn't worried that their reputation would be tarnished. Chapter 3282. Hee. Wang Xian chuckled when he heard the white-clad old man from the Gu Hai race. You're very fast in finalizing the price. It only took you a few seconds to finalize the price. Wang Xian asked indifferently. That's the rule. If no one bids, we can just settle it. The white-clad old man shrugged as his eyes flickered as he swept his gaze across all the customers. Everyone, our Gu Hai race has been established in the continental starry heavens for billions of years. We uphold the principle of giving priority to our customers. We will never harm our customers' interests. His voice rang in everyone's ears. Everyone present knew that although the Gu Hai race was shameless, it was within the rules. The main reason was the experts from the orthodox god races. No one dared to compete with them. No one dared to compete with them. That person can be said to be unlucky. Some of the experts thought to themselves, "Damn, I can't be that unlucky, right? We are already at the end, and this brat suddenly appeared. If he purposely raises the price, won't I have to increase the price?" At this moment, the old man holding the wine flask on a mountain peak in front of the auction platform saw this scene. He could no longer sit still and immediately stood up. Old wine, the last acquired spiritual treasure, might not be placed by that youth. Don't be anxious. You will bid later. If anyone dares to compete with you, just beat him up. An old man at the side said with a chuckle. Since they, the orthodox god races, were about to disembark, they could be more fearless. Next, we will start bidding for the last item, a metal attribute acquired spiritual treasure, a peak defensive acquired spiritual treasure. Similarly, the starting bid will be 5 tribulation divine stones. The voice of the white-clad old man continued to ring out from the auction platform. The auction continued. Damn, I want this treasure. Anyone who dares to compete with me will be going against me. The moment the white-clad old man from the Gu Hai race finished speaking, the old man holding the wine flask stood up forcefully and roared. Compared to those people earlier, he was even more fearless. He even made it clear that anyone who dared to compete with him would be going against him. It looks like the metal attribute acquired spiritual treasure is going to end up in the hands of the orthodox god races. Everyone thought to themselves when they saw the expert from the upright god race roaring so arrogantly. This acquired spiritual treasure was also put up for auction by that young man. Hee, I wonder how he will react. If he increases the price himself, I think that expert from the orthodox god clan will attack him directly. Let's see if that young man will court death or not. In any case, it has nothing to do with us. We will just earn a little less. It won't affect us much. If there really is a conflict, will we care? There's no need for that. The others can understand as well. What can we do when the righteous god races make a move? Hee. The old men of the ancient sea race chatted in the back. Although the upright god race had disrupted their auction, everything was still under their control. The profits this time would not be too small. Hee. These 3 metal-type acquired spiritual treasures were all consigned by me for auction. It seems like you orthodox god clans think that I'm easy to bully? Wang Xian watched as the auction continued. When the last item was taken out, and the old man from an orthodox god race made a strong bid, he sneered and said, The 3 metal-type acquired spiritual treasures are all his? It seems like he has gotten a great opportunity. This is bad luck. He didn't even get the price of 2 of the 3 acquired spiritual treasures. This is a loss. What bad luck. Hee. When some people heard what Wang Xian said, they were shocked. Following which, they started discussing softly. If there's no more competition, this treasure will belong to me. However, the old man with the wine pot seemed to have not heard Wang Xian. He took a sip of wine and said, 15 calamity divine stones. I'll give you one last chance. Wang Xian said plainly when he heard him. He made a bid and raised the price to 15 calamity divine stones. When everyone heard Wang Xian's words, they were taken aback and were shocked. On the auction stage, the old man in white was also shocked and his eyes flickered. Don't give me face. Die. However, at the next moment, the old man from an orthodox god race who was about to drink wine heard Wang Xian and his face turned gloomy. He waved his arm and the wine pot in his hand emitted a golden radiance as it attacked Wang Xian. The sudden attack caused everyone to be slightly startled. Everyone, please calm down. The old man in white on the auction stage said plainly. He did not stop them. Of course, the ancient sea race did not have the strength to stop them. When Wang Xian saw the old man attacking him, he burst into laughter and a terrifying murderous aura burst out from his body. His figure moved and disappeared in an instant. In the next moment, he appeared beside the old man with the wine pot. You're courting death. I gave you a chance, but you didn't cherish it. Then, all of you shall die. Wang Xian's chilling voice reached the ears of all the orthodox god races. The old man who had just thrown the wine pot sensed a figure beside him. His eyes narrowed and his face was filled with horror. Bam! In the next moment, a terrifying force shrouded him and wiped out all his vitality. At the same time, Wang Xian waved his arm, and the destructive force of the 5 elements shrouded the surroundings. Oh no, run. Shit. At this moment, the surrounding experts from the orthodox god races were horrified and their eyes were filled with fear. The strength that Wang Xian had unleashed made them fearful. What? At this moment, everyone's expression changed drastically. That young man actually attacked. Moreover, how could his speed be so horrifying? That rank 5 venerable from the orthodox god races was instantly killed? Oh no, stop. Don't you dare cause trouble in the territory of the ancient sea race. When the experts at the back of the Gu Hai race saw this scene, their expressions changed drastically as they roared loudly, "Cause trouble in your territory? Ha ha ha." Wang Xian laughed hysterically. Swoosh. In the next moment, the horrifying energy swept across. No, no, no. No. Around him, the expressions of all the righteous god clans on the surrounding mountains changed drastically, and they were filled with shock. As the destructive force of the 5 elements swept across, everyone died instantly. Thousands of experts and disciples from the orthodox god races, including the strongest rank 5 venerable realm, were instantly killed. Until their deaths, they could not understand why such a terrifying existence suddenly appeared in the continental starry sky. How could anyone dare to kill them? They were the strongest force in the continental starry sky. Chapter 3283. SS, how is this possible? This. All the experts from the orthodox god races were killed by him in an instant. What terrifying strength! How dare he? The combat strength of a rank 6 universe supremacy. His strength is at least that of a rank 6 universe supremacy. With such strength, why wouldn't he dare? The orthodox god races are about to disembark. After killing them, we will leave immediately. In the future, the orthodox god races won't be able to take revenge. The orthodox god races have met a tough opponent. When Wang Xian attacked in an instant and slaughtered a group of universe supremacies from the orthodox god clans, everyone was shocked. This was the orthodox god race, the strongest race in the continental encirclement starry sky. However, some people were also shocked by Wang Xian's strength and agreed with his actions. The orthodox god races were strong, but so what if they killed them? I will leave immediately after killing them. When the orthodox god races disembark on the chaotic continent, can't they take revenge on me? With the rules in place, the orthodox god races wouldn't dare to take revenge. In the auction just now, the orthodox god races were so domineering and disregarded their status because they were about to disembark and had no scruples. However, they had never expected to encounter a rank 6 universe supremacy expert. I wonder what the orthodox god races will do now. They can only blame themselves for being too greedy. He must have obtained a great opportunity to sell 3 acquired spiritual treasures. Although it's unexpected that he has such strength, it's not too surprising. The combat strength of a rank 6 universe supremacy is considered top-notch in our continental encirclement starry sky. The rest of the people in the auction hall continued to discuss. Stop for our ancient sea race. When the experts of the ancient sea race saw all the experts and disciples of the orthodox god races killed, their expressions changed drastically and they immediately shouted. This was the territory of the ancient sea race. The experts of the orthodox god races died here. If the orthodox god races blamed them, they would have to pay a huge price. More than 10 experts of the ancient sea race flew into the sky and shouted with bitter expressions. Around them, 20 galactic beasts roared in unison, and a horrifying aura rushed over. Hee. When Wang Xian heard them, he waved his arm and collected the corpses of the thousands of experts from the orthodox god races. Then, he looked at the people from Gu Hai's race with a stern expression. Just now, when the main god clans attacked first, why didn't you stop them? he said coldly, his eyes flashing with killing intent. He's very strong. It's not easy for us to deal with him. Let's delay him for a while. We don't even need to do anything. The experts of the righteous god clans will naturally come and destroy him. 10 odd ancient sea race elders hovered in the air. The old man in the lead transmitted his voice. Dear customer, everything that happened just now was too sudden. We naturally had to stop the one from the upright god clan. However, you are faster and stronger. The leading old man explained to Wang Xian after transmitting his voice. Oh, really? Wang Xian said coldly. Of course. You are our customer, and the others are also our customers. We naturally treat our customers equally. The old man continued with a smile. That's right. Customer, please calm down and calm down. The white-robed old man on the auction stage pursed his lips and said to him, Friend, we'll give you the items you've put up for auction as well as all your gains. Besides that, we'll also return the 3 acquired spiritual treasures to you. As an apology, we won't take any commission from you. Another old man said, Oh? Wang Xian's eyes flickered. He squinted his eyes and said, Great. Give me all the items that I've submitted for auction immediately. Sure. Customer, please wait for a moment. We will prepare them for you immediately. The leading old man said immediately as he gestured to the other old man beside him. Her? The entire army of the upright god clans is just around. Why isn't he leaving? If he doesn't leave now, he probably won't be able to leave even if he wants to. In the auction hall, everyone was shocked when they saw Wang Xian still waiting for the items they had submitted for auction. Hurry up. Wang Xian squinted his eyes and spoke plainly to the ancient sea race. Yes, yes. Please wait for a moment. Customer, the number of items and divine stones involved is too huge. We will need tens of seconds. The white-robed old man on the auction stage replied immediately. Great. Wang Xian smiled faintly. What? What happened to the batch of experts and disciples that we sent to the ancient sea race? How did they get wiped out all of a sudden? At the same time, in the void not far from the ancient sea race's mainland, behind the grand upright god combat body in the center, there was a majestic palace. Inside the palace, 2 old men emitting golden light sensed that the spirit tablets of thousands of their clansmen in the sacred hall behind them had suddenly cracked. Their eyes narrowed. In order to prepare for this landing battle, the upright god clans had been preparing for hundreds of millions of years. Before they set off, all the spirit tablets of their clansmen had been transferred to this sacred hall. Once their clansmen died, they would be able to sense it immediately. They could even sense the level of their clansmen who died and the general direction of their deaths. All this was to prepare for the upcoming battle. However, they did not expect that thousands of their clansmen's spirit tablets would crack before the battle even started. Among them were a few rank 5 universe venerables from the clan. What? On the left and right sides of the palace, 28 figures shrouded in golden light were slightly shocked when they heard the words of the Laozu in front. 3 rank 5 universe venerables and over 2,000 clansmen were killed on the ancient sea race's mainland. Go and investigate. No matter who the murderer is, kill him. One of the 2 old men in the center said coldly. Yes. Immediately, 5 old men stood up on the left and right sides of the sacred hall. With a swift move, they turned into golden light and flew towards the ancient sea race's mainland. The landing battle is near. Don't let any accidents happen. The old man in the center continued plainly. Boom, boom. In the void beside the army of the upright god clans, 5 golden figures flew rapidly towards the ancient sea race's main road. Their bodies were filled with an awe-inspiring killing intent. How dare they kill the disciples of the upright god clans at this time? They must be courting death. Huh. At this time, in the ancient sea race's auction hall, Wang Xian sensed 5 figures flying over. He curled his lips slightly and looked at the crowd from the ancient sea race. You guys are a little slow. These are the 3 acquired spiritual treasures that you put up for auction. These are the gains from the other items. As soon as he finished his sentence, an old man waved his arm and threw all the items towards Wang Xian. He sensed the position in front of him, and his eyes flickered. Chapter 3284. Bam! 2 acquired spiritual treasures, and 3 metal attribute acquired spiritual treasures flew into Wang Xian's hands. He extended his hand and held it in his hand to sense it. You guys really timed it well. His eyes flickered as he glanced at the 5 golden silhouettes that were flying in his direction and spoke plainly. This is not what we wanted to see. The old man leading the Gu Hai race said with regret. Now that the orthodox god races are coming over aggressively, this is your territory. Don't you have anything to say about it? Wang Xian looked at them and asked plainly. I'm sorry. The orthodox god races are stronger than us. We can't do anything if they want to come over. The old man leading the Gu Hai race shook his head. Who killed our people from the orthodox god races? At this moment, a voice filled with murderous intent was heard, accompanied by a horrifying golden radiance. Wang. In the next moment, a huge golden alms bowl appeared in the sky, and rays of golden radiance shrouded the area below. Oh no, it's a confinement-type acquired spiritual treasure. Let's dodge it. Oh no, it's too late. The area it covers is too wide. At this moment, all the experts in the auction hall were horrified as they quickly dodged to the side. Lords from the orthodox god races, this has nothing to do with the Gu Hai race. When the experts from the Gu Hai race saw the horrifying aura, their expressions changed slightly. Although there were 20 galactic beasts around them, they did not dare to act presumptuously in the face of the 5 rank 6 supremacies from the orthodox god races. The 5 rank 6 supremacies from the orthodox god races squinted their eyes and looked at Wang Xian. Who's the reckless one? The leading expert from the orthodox god races continued to ask with murderous intent. A horrifying aura swept across the auction hall. This customer had a conflict with the righteous god clans. The old man in white from the Gu Hai race said hurriedly when he felt the horrifying aura. Hee, very good. When Wang Xian saw the old man in white pointing at him, he revealed a smile. Courting death. You dare to kill our people from the orthodox god races? Die. The 5 rank 6 supremacies from the orthodox god clans locked onto Wang Xian. In the next instant, they moved and charged towards Wang Xian with terrifying aura. The 5 of them did not ask too many questions. In the entire continental encirclement starry sky, their righteous god race was the strongest existence. Even the second-ranked ancient sea race was far behind them. They had the strongest universe venerable level 7 experts in the continent encirclement galaxy. Therefore, when facing Wang Xian, they did not waste any time and killed him directly. Even if the opponent had the strength of a universe 6th order venerable, with the strength of the 5 of them, they could also kill it. What terrifying power! That expert is going to suffer. He didn't escape in time. He's in big trouble now. Even if he has the strength of a 6th order universe venerable, he's not a match for the 5 of the upright god clans. Let's retreat quickly. Don't get caught up in it. How can we be affected? 5 against 1. We should be able to quickly suppress and kill him. Everyone in the auction house discussed as they came to the edge of the golden alms bowl. They did not have high hopes for Wang Xian. After all, based on the strength that Wang Xian had displayed, he was likely to be a universe 6th order venerable. Facing 5 existences of the same level alone, with the surrounding route sealed, the possibility of him dying was very high. Going against the upright god clans, isn't he courting death? The experts of the ancient sea race thought to themselves coldly as they looked over. SK. Wang Xian looked coldly at the 5 tier 6 universe supremacies who were charging towards him. Die. In the next moment, the 5 experts from the upright god clans roared and launched a series of terrifying attacks towards Wang Xian. The upright god clans were good at close combat. At this moment, the 5 of them were about 50 kilometers away from him. At this distance, the 5 of them were confident that they could kill the other party in an instant. You're courting death. Wang Xian had a cold look on his face. At the instant when their attacks were about to hit, the Tai Chi dragon plate appeared around him. A Tai Chi shadow swept towards the 5 universe 6th order venerables in front of him. The Tai Chi dragon plate's strongest point was its defense. However, under Wang Xian's control, killing a universe 6th order venerable was a piece of cake. Wang. The Tai Chi dragon plate shadow flashed, and the terrifying golden radiance disappeared instantly. Arg! In the next moment, the power of yin and yang descended on their bodies, wiping out their vitality. What? He's not a universe 6th order venerable. He's a rank 7. A rank 7? SS. How is this possible? Since when did a rank 7 universe venerable appear in our continental encirclement galaxy? At this moment, when everyone saw the 5 universe 6th order venerables from the upright god clans being killed in an instant, they felt their scalps go numb. Someone exclaimed in disbelief. How is this possible? However, when they saw the 5 corpses floating in the air, they had no choice but to believe it. A universe 7th order venerable. In the continental encirclement galaxy, this was considered a pinnacle existence. The only known universe 7th order venerables were the 2 from the upright god clans. Since when did another one appear? And it was someone that no one knew? How is this possible? All the experts from the upright god clans were shocked when they saw this. A bunch of trash. How dare you provoke me? Wang Xian said in disdain. With a wave of his arm, he kept the 5 corpses. Gulp. Seeing the 5 universe 6th order venerables being killed in an instant, everyone from the upright god clans swallowed a mouthful of saliva. Wang Xian swept his gaze across the surroundings, landing on the experts from the upright god clans. Congratulations. Congratulations, sir. When all the experts from the upright god clans saw Wang Xian looking over, their hearts tightened. The leading old man hurriedly bowed and said. His forehead was drenched in cold sweat. A universe 7th order venerable was no longer someone that the upright god clans could afford to offend. I declare that the upright god clans shall be annihilated. Wang Xian stared at them and said calmly, Unrelated people, leave immediately. He continued. When he finished his sentence, he was already in front of the experts from the upright god clans. Everyone was shocked when they heard this, and their faces were filled with horror. Especially the experts from the upright god clans. The other party wanted to annihilate them, the upright god clans. How? How could this be? Chapter 3285. This lord wants to annihilate the Gu Hai race. His strength is too horrifying. He killed 5 rank 6 universe supremacies in an instant. Even among the rank 7 universe supremacies, he's probably one of the stronger ones. The Gu Hai race is in deep trouble this time. They've kicked an iron plate. They're going to face a huge disaster this time. The Gu Hai race deserves it. This lord held an auction here and was suppressed by the orthodox god races. They didn't say anything. When the orthodox god races attacked this lord, they didn't stop them. Instead, this lord attacked them. They spoke up to stop them, obviously thinking that he's a pushover. They even pointed out that this lord was the one who said it. Great. Now they've completely angered him. Retreat. 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 The Gu Hai race is going to have a good time next. Everyone in the auction hall immediately flew away when they heard Wang Xian's words. The golden light released by the alms bowl disappeared after the rank 6 universe supremacy was killed. They all flew up to the sky to avoid being implicated. Everyone looked at Gu Hai's group with mockery on their faces. They had seen the scene just now. The Gu Hai race was obviously afraid of the orthodox god races and had intentionally bullied that lord. However, they didn't expect this lord's strength to be so terrifying. The Gu Hai race had kicked an iron plate. Rumble. At the same time, in the temple in the center of the orthodox god race army, the 2 elders on the seats in the center of the hall suddenly stood up at this moment. Their expressions were extremely ugly. 3rd elder and the other 4 are dead. How is this possible? 3rd elder and the other 4 are rank 6 universe supremacies. They even have treasures. What happened? What the hell happened? In front of them, the 20 over rank 6 venerables immediately stood up, their expressions extremely ugly. They could feel the spirit tablets of 3rd elder and the other 4 shattering. This meant that the 5 of them were dead. Moreover, they were killed in an instant. In an instant, 5 rank 6 universe supremacies were killed. Who was the culprit? How strong was the culprit? Damn it, such a thing actually happened at this time. The 2 elders from the upright god clans looked extremely embarrassed. They moved and instantly rushed out of the temple. 5 level 6 venerables were instantly killed. This was definitely not something a level 6 venerable could do. Now that the righteous god races were embarking, they had reached a critical juncture. But now, a mysterious existence had appeared, continuously killing many of their experts. This made their hearts burn with rage. At the same time, they had a bad feeling in their hearts. Go! Seeing the two patriarchs fly out, the rest of the rank 6 venerables followed closely behind. A bunch of reckless fools die. In the auction hall of the ancient sea race, Wang Xian waved his arm. A wave of 5 elements power of annihilation shrouded the group of venerables from the ancient sea race. Given his current strength, there was no need for him to use the peerless sacred wings or the 5 elements grind. Facing this group of strongest 5th order venerables, he could kill them easily. The 5 elements power of destruction swept towards the 10-odd venerates of the ancient sea race. At this moment, the 10-odd venerables of the ancient sea race turned pale, their eyes filled with despair. Under Wang Xian's terrifying speed, they had no way of dodging. No, no, Lord, don't kill us. It's our ancient sea race's fault. Don't kill us. Terrified voices came out of their mouths as they begged for mercy. How could they have imagined that this young man before them would be so terrifying? There were only a few rank 7 venerables in the surrounding continent, yet they had encountered one. How could they be so unlucky? Kiki, Wang Xian sneered. The river of annihilation swept past their bodies and immediately melted them. At this moment, the surrounding 20 galactic beasts roared as they stared coldly at Wang Xian. Rumble. Who dares to cause trouble here? The huge commotion immediately alerted one of the rank 6 venerables of the ancient sea race in the depths of the continent. He moved and instantly appeared at the side of the auction hall. Wong Wong Wong. At this moment, the entire ancient sea race's continent was filled with anxious noises. Upon hearing the noises, the experts and disciples of the ancient sea race's continent quickly flew over. Die. Wang Xian swept his gaze across. Instantly, countless blood-red chains appeared around him. The chains attacked the surrounding galactic beasts and the rank 6 venerables. Oh no! The rank 6 venerables of the ancient sea race, who had just flown out, was horrified when he saw the terrifying blood-red chains. The blood-red chains made him feel as though he was facing great terror. Boom! He hurriedly launched an attack, continuously attacking the blood-red chain. However, his speed was still too slow. His attack power landed on the blood-red chain, but it had no effect at all. Oh no, galactic beasts, attack! The old man from the ancient sea race roared with bloodshot eyes when he sensed the terrifying attack. Lord, how did we offend you? Why are you attacking us? Following which, he roared anxiously. You'll have to ask the ancient sea race. Wang Xian replied sternly. In the next instant, the blood-red chains arrived before the galactic beasts. The starry sky beasts let out furious roars. Terrifying hurricanes gathered around them and charged towards the chains. Pft, pft. However, to everyone's horror, the chains penetrated the bodies of the galactic beasts easily. The blood-red chains were like life-reaping chains. The galactic beasts could not resist at all. The horrifying chains penetrated the bodies of 20 galactic beasts. The galactic beasts let out agonizing cries as the 20 galactic beasts writhed in pain in the void. Oh no! How did those damned guys offend such a horrifying existence? The rank 6 venerables of the ancient sea race roared furiously when he saw the blood-red chains surrounding him. How did those damned trash from the ancient sea race offend such an enemy? At this moment, Wang Xian did not show any mercy. He swung the chains and charged towards all the galactic beasts and the rank 6 venerables. Chapter 3286. No. Ow ow. Ow ow. Screams could be heard. One of the 20 mastiff beasts was a rank 6 universe supremacy. It was an old rank 6 universe supremacy. He died instantly under Wang Xian's chain attack. That old rank 6 universe supremacy did not even have the chance to escape. Logically speaking, a rank 6 universe supremacy should have a high chance of escaping and returning to his own holy kingdom when facing a rank 7 universe supremacy. However, Wang Xian was not a rank 7 universe supremacy. Now, he could even kill a universe venerable with the combat power of a level 8 universe venerable. Coupled with the universal locking dragon eyes attack, a rank 6 universe supremacy could not even dream of escaping. Screams could be heard. As the strongest attack of the Gu Hai race, the 20 Mastiff beasts were killed instantly. That was a total of 20 Mastiff beasts. There were only over 100 Mastiff beasts in the entire Gu Hai race. Now, 20 of them were killed. This was a huge loss to the Gu Hai race. However, the Gu Hai race could not care less about such losses at this point. Oh no, our Gu Hai race has offended a powerful being. One of our Lao Zu was killed, and so were the 20 Mastiff beasts. This is not something we can resist. Run and report to the Patriarch immediately. That person is so strong. We can't defeat him. Run. At this moment, experts in other parts of the Gu Hai race continent heard the alarm and flew over. When they saw the 20-star behemoths and their Patriarch being killed, their faces were filled with shock and horror. Without any hesitation, they fled into the distance. Some of them were even prepared to flee back to their own holy kingdoms. Buzz buzz. Wang Xian swept his gaze across the surroundings with a sinister look in his eyes. With a wave of his arm, the 5 elements grindstone appeared and swept across the surroundings. A grayish river of destruction swept across the surroundings at a terrifying speed. The river of destruction contained a horrifying aura that engulfed the entire galaxy at a terrifying speed. When everyone sensed this terrifying energy, their faces were filled with shock. Oh no, run, run, run. Some universe venerables sensed the terrifying speed of the river and shouted in horror. Some experts who wanted to run back to their divine kingdoms paled. The Annihilation River was simply too fast. What kind of power is this? Up in the sky, the group of universe venerables in the auction hall felt their scalps go numb when they saw Wang Xian's terrifying attack. After the river of annihilation swept past them, they felt as if even the starry sky had fallen silent. The area that was swept by this energy seemed to have become a dead zone. Buzz buzz. The terrifying energy swept through everything within a radius of more than 1 billion kilometers. None of the ancient sea race experts rushing over managed to escape this horrifying attack. The energy swept over, and their corpses floated in the air. With one strike, 80% of the Gu Hai race's experts on this continent instantly died. Hiss. Looking at this terrifying attack, everyone around sucked in a breath of cold air. Their eyes were filled with shock. This is... At the same time, in the void not far away, 2 golden light spots flew over rapidly. Behind them were more than 20 figures shrouded in golden light. When the 2 patriarchs of the Orthodox God race at the front saw this horrifying attack, they were filled with fear. This is at least the attack power of a rank 7 universe venerable. Moreover, I can feel the threat of death from this attack. One of the golden light spots stopped instantly. He stared ahead with a grave expression and an awful look. He's very strong. Damn it. Why did such an expert appear out of nowhere? How did we, the Orthodox God race, offend him? The other patriarch of the Orthodox God race also stopped and growled in a low voice. They had actually encountered such a strong enemy when they were about to disembark. This was simply bad news for the Orthodox God race. If the other party launched a sneak attack on them when they were about to disembark, they might fall short of success or even suffer great losses. After all, the race they were challenging this time was not weak. They should have the fighting power of a rank 7 universe venerable. Patriarch, what should we do? At this time, more than 20 rank 6 venerables flew over. They looked at the terrifying energy in front of them, and their faces were filled with fear. This aura was at least that of a rank 7 universe venerable. Patriarch, they dared to kill Third Elder and the rest. Let's kill them. Our entire army is here. What's there to be afraid of? Let's wipe them out. A burly old man bellowed with killing intent. Idiot. The 2 old men in the lead barked furiously at him. Ganging up on a level 7 venerable, the righteous God race indeed had the ability to destroy him. However, would the other party wait for them to attack? The other party would have already escaped before the army arrived. Next, they would have to disembark. By then, if the other party attacked from behind, the Orthodox god race would suffer immeasurable losses. They might even fail to disembark. Patriarch, what should we do now? The leader of the Orthodox god race asked solemnly. They were in deep trouble now. As soon as he finished speaking, everyone around him fell silent. What should they do? There were two ways. One was to seek peace with the other party. If their people died, so be it. Their priority was to disembark. The second way was to fight the other party. However, if they fought the other party, it would mean that they might have to give up this disembark. After giving up, they would have to wait 100 million years for another disembark. This was the rule of the disembark. After all, they had to give up at the last minute. 100 million years was a long time for the Orthodox god race. Who are you? Aren't you afraid of our revenge after killing so many of our people and experts from the Orthodox god race? At this moment, an infuriated roar came from the main road of the ancient sea race. Down below, an old man bellowed at Wang Xian, who was hovering in the sky. Ha ha ha! Revenge on me? In that case, the Dragon Palace will annihilate all the ancient sea race and the Orthodox god race. Wang Xian's eyes were filled with murderous intent when he heard the voice from below. He waved his arm and the five elements grindstone enlarged and attacked the land below. Dragon King of the Dragon Palace? All the experts from the Orthodox god race were incomparably gloomy when they heard this. Chapter 3287 Dragon King of Dragon Palace. The Dragon King of the Dragon Palace who had defeated the Demon Dragon lineage and the Fire Dragon Palace. Not long ago, all the factions in the surrounding starry heavens had been paying attention to the war and slaughter of the divine dragon bloodline. The righteous god races naturally paid attention to this as well. However, they did not take it seriously at all. At that time, the main god tribes were already preparing to disembark. Moreover, in their opinion, the divine dragon bloodline was merely relying on the Dragon Palace. Without the Dragon Palace, they were nothing much. However, the Dragon King's strength had actually reached the Universe Venerable Level 7. That was a Universe Venerable Level 7. The righteous god clans only had 2 patriarchs with such power. You want to exterminate the righteous god races? When the experts from the Orthodox god clans heard Wang Xian, their faces darkened. Old ancestor, let's go kill that arrogant Dragon King. A righteous god expert couldn't help but growl. Their eyes were fixed on the Dragon King who was wreaking havoc on the continent, and their faces were filled with rage. They, the righteous god race, had been invincible in the starry sky for hundreds of millions of years. For hundreds of millions of years, no one had dared to be arrogant with them, and no one had dared to say that they would destroy them. Now they wanted to destroy them? Everyone's face revealed a cold expression. If we're going to make a move, we'll have to completely destroy that Dragon King. The 2 patriarchs of the central god race were also filled with killing intent. It had been a long time since someone had dared to provoke the righteous god race. However, if they chose to make a move, then they had to be confident that they could make the other party stay. Old ancestor, there are still 5 days before our landing battle. If we clash with the Dragon Palace, then our landing battle, the patriarch of the true god race said with an ugly expression. Now they were in a difficult position. If they were to clash with the Dragon Palace now, the landing battle would definitely be affected. They might even be attacked by the Dragon Palace during the battle. However, if they gave up on the landing battle because they had unilaterally violated the rules, then they could forget about landing for the next 100 million years. Either way, it would be a huge loss for them. At this time, the Dragon Palace is already riding on top of us. Why should we be afraid of them? At worst, we can just wait for 100 million years. Now, the Dragon Palace has several Dragon Palaces. If we can destroy them, our harvest might not be any less than in the chaotic continent. That's right. Destroy the Dragon Palace. Although the divine dragon bloodline's Dragon Palace is strong, I don't believe there is no way to destroy it. Several hot-tempered old men roared angrily. All right, we'll give up on landing and destroy the Dragon Palace. The 2 patriarchs of the righteous gods clenched their teeth and growled. Their eyes were bloodshot. This decision was a great loss to the upright gods. There was only one way to make up for it. and that was to destroy the dragon palaces. As long as they obtained the dragon palaces, they could make up for all the losses. However, they had no other choice. They didn't dare to continue the battle of landing. If the dragon palace launched a sneak attack from behind, they wouldn't be able to bear the consequences. Contact the Gu Hai races. Tell them to make preparations and immediately attack the divine dragon palace. A patriarch of a righteous god race ordered, "Old ancestor, should we attack the dragon king and let him know the consequences of offending us?" An old man growled in a low voice, "No need. There's no need to waste time. Let's attack the dragon palace directly. I want the entire dragon slayer palace." An patriarch of an upright god race shook his head and growled in a low voice. Given their strength, it would be difficult for them to keep a rank 7 universe venerable here. Unless the righteous god race army surrounded the Dragon King, it would be difficult to kill the Dragon King. All they had to do was to attack the Dragon Palace. The Dragon Slayer Palace would make up for their losses. Let's go. Don't disturb our landing. This time, we must destroy the Dragon Palace. The group of righteous god race experts bellowed with murderous intent as they turned and flew towards the righteous god race army. Boom! At this moment, a loud sound came from below the Gu Hai race auction. The 5 elements' great grindstone landed on the ground, killing everyone below instantly. Wang Xian took a glance at the void not far away and raised his eyebrows when he saw the 20-odd golden radiances vanishing. He didn't care about it. The righteous god races had to give him a satisfactory answer. Otherwise, they would go to war. Now that they were in the battle of landing, they couldn't escape. Wang. He fixed his eyes on a figure in front. In the next moment, he flew over immediately. No, no, no. Don't kill me. The ancient sea race universe venerable screamed in horror when he saw Wang Xian flying towards him. Wang. A demonic look flashed in his eyes as he performed the soul search. Waves of information flowed into his mind. There were many treasures in the Gu Hai race mainland. Wang Xian wanted to get his hands on these treasures first before settling other matters. Some information entered his mind. His body moved, and he flew towards the lower part of the auction hall. There was a cave entrance below. This was the treasury of the Gu Hai race auction. All the treasures were hidden here. With rank 6 universe venerables and cosmic beasts guarding this mainland, they weren't afraid of anyone robbing them. This. Dragon King. He's the Dragon King. He's too strong. I didn't expect him to be the Dragon King. No wonder the demonic dragon lineage, Fire Dragon Palace, and Saint Wen clan were annihilated. The Dragon King's strength is so terrifying. The Gu Hai race is in big trouble now. How dare they bully the Dragon King? They might be annihilated. They want to bully the Dragon King and take advantage of him. TSK. The entire Gu Hai race mainland belongs to the Dragon King now. In the sky above, a group of experts looked down with a mocking look on their faces. The Gu Hai race had really gone overboard this time. At the same time, what happened on the Gu Hai race mainland attracted the attention of many people in the surrounding starry sky. There were many people gathered in the nearby starry sky. When they saw what was happening, their faces were filled with astonishment and shock. Look over there. The army of the righteous god races is flying towards the back. What's going on? At this moment, a shocked voice was heard. Huh. Everyone around was slightly startled, and their faces were filled with shock. The entire army of the righteous god races was moving towards the back. They were moving at high speed. This sudden scene caused everyone to be incomparably astonished. What's going on? Why did they suddenly move to the back when the chaotic land was in front of them? What are the righteous god races doing? Everyone was confused and couldn't figure out what the righteous god races were trying to do. At this moment, dozens of cosmic beasts were roaming in the void in a region surrounding the mainland. This was the lair of the Gu Hai race. Swish, swish, swish. At this moment, countless experts were flying towards a planet of the Gu Hai race. The war was coming. Chapter 3288. There's a problem over at Star Traversing Continent. Our Gu Hai race has offended the Dragon King of Dragon Palace. The Dragon King has the strength of a rank 7 universe venerable. All the experts and disciples on Star Traversing Continent were killed. Even the 20 galactic beasts were killed. The Dragon King of Dragon Palace wants to exterminate our Gu Hai race. This battle is hard to avoid. They have a rank 7 universe venerable. We are not their match. The righteous God race patriarch sent us a message. The righteous God race is prepared to give up on the landing battle. They will immediately attack the Dragon Palace and exterminate them. They ordered us to use all our strength to exterminate the Dragon Palace. In a huge hall on the Gu Hai race's main planet, many universe venerables sat on the seats. In the middle, 8 old men of the Gu Hai race sat there, announcing the news with a gloomy expression. When everyone heard the news, their expressions changed. How did our Gu Hai race offend the Dragon King of Dragon Palace? Why does he want to exterminate us? One of the Gu Hai race experts could not help but ask. A universe venerable with a level 7 battle prowess caused them to feel fear. This was not an existence they could fight against. You can take a look at the situation on the universe AI. The leading old man said with a gloomy expression. When they received the news, they nearly peed their pants. A rank 7 universe venerable wanted to exterminate their Gu Hai race. What could they use to resist? However, a message from the leader of an upright god race caused them to reveal a hopeful expression. In the huge hall, the 6,000 over universe venerables took out their AI and looked at the news. There was no need for them to search. The hottest news in the continental encirclement galaxy was about them. What happened at the Gu Hai race auction had already spread throughout the continental encirclement galaxy. Many people were filled with mockery towards the Gu Hai race. We only have one way now. Exterminate the Dragon Palace. Not only did the Dragon King anger us, he also angered the righteous god race. Now, the righteous god race has given up on the landing battle. Since the Dragon King wants to destroy us, let's see who will destroy who. An old man in the center of the ancient sea race stood up, revealing a sinister, murderous intent in his eyes. The Dragon Palace's Dragon Kings destroyed the experts of my ancient sea race and our astral behemoths. This time, we will clash with them. All universe venerates and core disciples of the ancient sea race, prepare for battle. Kill, kill, kill. Since they want to destroy us, let's see who will destroy who. With the upright god clans around, we can definitely destroy the Dragon Palace if we join forces. The many universe venerates of the ancient sea race stood up, showing berserk murderous intent on their faces. The Dragon King was more powerful than them, but now that the orthodox gods were here, they were not afraid at all. Killing 20 of their giant star beasts meant that they would not rest until one of them was dead. If the Dragon King wanted to annihilate them, they would annihilate the Dragon Palace as well. Soon, 90 astral behemoths roared in the ancient sea's starry heavens. All the experts and elites of the ancient sea race stood above these 90 astral behemoths. They roared in the starry heavens and flew in one direction. At this moment, on the universe's AI, everyone was shocked by what was happening in the void in front of the great desolate continent. All the experts in the surrounding starry heavens discussed in shock the strength of the Dragon Palace's Dragon King and the ancient sea race courting death. However, in next to no time, another piece of news that shocked everyone arrived. The upright god race army is flying towards the south of the surrounding starry heavens. They are getting further and further away from the great desolate continent. What are they doing? There is a shocking guess. It seems like the upright god race has given up on the landing battle. The departure of the upright god race army shocked everyone. Countless people guessed. 2 hours later, 2 shocking pieces of news arrived. The upright god race had given up on the landing battle and were heading in the direction of the Dragon Palace. All the ancient sea race's astral behemoths, universe venerates, and elite disciples were moving out to meet up with the upright god race. When these 2 pieces of news spread out, everyone was in an uproar. Crazy, this is too crazy. This time, the upright god race and the ancient sea race offended the Dragon King. The Dragon King killed a large number of experts from the upright god race and the ancient sea race. Now, the upright god race has given up on the landing battle and wants to destroy the Dragon Palace. This is the alliance of the number 1 and number 2 forces in our starry heavens. They are going to destroy the Dragon Palace. They have given up on the landing battle. The upright god race is too crazy this time. After all, the upright god race's landing battle has a 100% success rate. The upright god race is probably afraid that the Dragon Palace will launch a sneak attack during the landing battle. That's why they are making such a crazy move. The ancient sea race is about to meet up with the upright god race. They are indeed heading in the direction of the Dragon Palace. On the AI, countless people were discussing. They were shocked by the upright god race's crazy move. However, when everyone found out the reason why the upright god race and the ancient sea race offended the Dragon King of the Dragon Palace, there was another uproar. This time, we can only say that the upright god race is unlucky. It's their fault for being too arrogant and bumping into a tough opponent. The Dragon King of the Dragon Palace is also ferocious. He fought his way out step by step. Why would he be afraid of the upright god race and the ancient sea race? Next, do you think the upright god race and the ancient sea race can destroy the Dragon Palace? After all, the upright god race and the ancient sea race are the number 1 and number 2 forces in our starry heavens. The Dragon Palace should not be a match for them. However, it will be difficult to destroy the Dragon Palace. After all, the Dragon Palace of the Divine Dragon bloodline is very powerful. Countless people were discussing, guessing that there would be a huge war that would break out soon. There was only one reasonable explanation for the upright god race's crazy move, and that was to destroy the Dragon Palace to make up for their losses. This guess was also correct. In the starry heavens, the entire upright god race was traveling quickly. At this moment, every clansman was burning with rage. Since they had given up on the landing battle, they could only make up for it with the blood of the Dragon Palace. What's going on? The upright god race actually left? At the same time, in the sky above a vast continent, the entire continent was filled with dense immortal chi. At the periphery of this continent, huge mountain peaks stood tall. Every mountain peak was tens of millions of meters tall. In front of these mountain peaks, 10,000-meter-tall giants stood in an orderly fashion on an empty space. In front of them, 60,000-meter-tall giants stared at the void in front of them in shock. Clan head, look at the AI in the starry heavens. The upright god race actually gave up on the landing battle. They are going to destroy a faction of the Divine Dragon bloodline. A giant said in shock and pleasant surprise. Chapter 3289. The Orthodox god races gave up on the landing battle? It seems that the Orthodox god races offended the Dragon King of the Dragon Palace. In the end, the Dragon King killed a large number of their disciples. The Dragon Palace also has a rank 7 universe venerable expert. Hence, they were afraid that the Dragon Palace would launch a sneak attack during the landing battle. Hence, they gave up on the landing battle. In the direction of the desolate continent's giant clan, the group of giants had excited looks on their faces. They heaved a sigh of relief inwardly. The strength of the Orthodox god races was terrifying to them. The giant tribe's chances of winning this battle were less than 30%. Now that they gave up on the landing battle, it was a joyous occasion for them. This could reduce their losses significantly. Just as the giant tribe heaved a sigh of relief, Wang Xian walked out of the treasure vault of the Ancient Sea Tribe's auction hall on the continent of the Ancient Sea Tribe. The harvest this time was pretty good for him. But at this time, the universe AI sent him a lot of information. When he saw the information, he was slightly taken aback. The Orthodox god races actually gave up on the landing battle? Now they are flying towards the Dragon Palace with the Ancient Sea Tribe, preparing to destroy the Dragon Palace. Wang Xian couldn't help but burst into laughter when he saw these two pieces of information. He really didn't expect the Orthodox god races to give up on the landing battle and join forces with the Ancient Sea Tribe to destroy the Dragon Palace. Did they think they could destroy the Dragon Palace? Aren't they sending resources to the Dragon Palace? What a bunch of good people. Wang Xian squinted his eyes. Originally, he had decided to destroy the Ancient Sea Tribe. As for the Orthodox god races, if they paid a price, Wang Xian wouldn't do anything to them. He would give them a chance. After all, the Orthodox god races had only offended him because of that group of people. If they had a good attitude, everything would be negotiable. but he didn't expect them to be so crazy to destroy the Dragon Palace. He looked at the information on the universe AI and revealed a mocking expression. The Orthodox god races suffered a huge loss by giving up on the landing battle. If they wanted to make up for this loss, they could only destroy the Dragon Palace and obtain all the Divine Dragon Palace. Obviously, they had the same idea. Since you are courting death and have traveled tens of thousands of light years to destroy our Dragon Palace, we will naturally welcome you. Wang Xian smiled. With a slight movement of his body, he disappeared immediately. The next moment, he appeared in the Dragon Palace. Dragon King. Prime Minister Turtle sensed Wang Xian's arrival and immediately came forward to welcome him. Someone has sent us gifts. Let's get ready to welcome them. Order all the members of the Dragon Palace to get ready. We must entertain them well and not let any of them escape, said Wang Xian to Prime Minister Turtle with a smile. Yes, Dragon King. This time, 17,000 to 18,000 universe supremacies from the two races are indeed a huge gift to us. Prime Minister Turtle was full of smiles. 17,000 universe supremacies and the first and second strongest forces of the continent encircling starry sky had sent over all their accumulated gifts. This was simply a joyous occasion for the Dragon Palace. I'll send someone to prepare it. As Prime Minister Turtle spoke, he immediately retreated. Wang Xian nodded with a smile. Currently, the Dragon Palace was lacking some top-notch combat power. Now that they were here, they wouldn't be lacking anymore. He thought to himself as he took out the Universe AI. At this moment, on the Universe AI, all the forces of the entire continent encircling starry sky were paying attention to every move of the Orthodox god races and the ancient sea races. Everyone was guessing the outcome of this battle. Countless people were discussing it. However, many people still had a lot of trust in the Orthodox god races and the ancient sea races. They believed that they could defeat the Dragon Palace. As for completely annihilating the Dragon Palace, they weren't sure. This was because the Dragon Palace of the Divine Dragon lineage was very strong. This time, I'll show you the strength of the Dragon Palace. Wang Xian revealed a smile as he looked at the various guesses on the Universe AI. Soon, a message came from the Water Dragon Palace, asking if he needed help. Wang Xian rejected them immediately. They didn't have to waste time coming over. At the same time, in the void of the continent encircling starry sky, about 90 ruffian beasts were flying in the void. Every single one of them was huge, and there were countless experts standing on their bodies. The army of the ancient sea races met with the army of the Orthodox god races. This time, the Orthodox god races had mobilized all their forces for the Battle of Landing. Swish, swish, swish. On the leading ruffian beast of the ancient sea race, 8 figures flew towards the center of the army of the Orthodox god races. They looked at the huge Orthodox god battle physique and were full of confidence for this battle. Senior. The 8 rank 6 supremacies of the ancient sea race flew over and greeted respectfully. From now on, just follow my orders. This time, we'll completely annihilate the Dragon Palace. A beam of golden light shrouded them and pulled them into the main hall. At this moment, 22 rank 6 supremacies of the universe sat on the left and right of the main hall. The 2 elders of the Orthodox god races looked at them sternly. Yes, Senior. We naturally believe in the strength of the Orthodox god races. The 8 people of the ancient sea race answered immediately. 2 seniors. The defense of the Dragon Palace of the Divine Dragon lineage is extremely terrifying. If they hide inside, then we, the leader of the ancient sea race, hesitated before speaking. There's always a way. I don't believe that we can't break the Dragon Palace. Humph. The 2 elders of the Orthodox god races said coldly. This time, they would try their best to break the Dragon Palace. Yes, with the Orthodox god races and our ancient sea race around, we don't believe that we can't break the Dragon Palace. An elder of the ancient sea race clenched his fist and bellowed. The 2 elders of the Orthodox god races waved their hands coldly. Go and get ready. This time, we won't rest until we destroy the Dragon Palace. Yes. The 8 of them cupped their fists and returned to the ruffian beast. The 2 forces were flying at high speed. Based on their flying speed, it would take them a month to reach the Dragon Palace. However, they weren't in a hurry. The Dragon Palace couldn't escape. Even if they had to escape to the ends of the world, they would destroy the Dragon Palace. This time, the Orthodox god races were prepared for a protracted war. Even if it took them hundreds of millions of years, they could afford it. As the days passed, the movements of the Orthodox god races, the ancient sea race, were updated daily. A month's time was a long time. The two races had also entered the starry sky and were getting closer to the Dragon Palace. At this moment, Wang Xian sat in front of the Dragon Palace with a table in front of him. A cup of tea was brewed on the table. They're finally here. It's been tough on you to travel such a long distance. Wang Xian looked into the void and revealed a smile as he felt the vast energy. He was getting a little anxious from waiting. Chapter 3290. Terrifying roars resounded in the starry sky of the Star River. 90 basilisk beasts roared furiously. Every basilisk beast had the combat power of a rank 3 universe venerable. The stronger ones had already reached rank 6 universe venerable. Their roars caused the entire starry sky to shake. We're here. The Dragon Palace is just ahead. In front of the legions of the Orthodox god races, figures radiating golden light flew forward. They stood on top of the upright god battle bodies with golden light radiating from their eyes. Tu Laozu stood on the leading upright deity battle body and stared at the Dragon Palace in front of them. Behind them, all the experts and disciples of the Orthodox god races held their divine weapons in their hands, their eyes filled with murderous intent. It was all because of the Dragon Palace that they had given up on the battle. This time, they would turn the Dragon Palace into a river of blood, and the corpses of the disciples of the Dragon Palace would be under their feet. The legions of the two races were approaching rapidly. Violent murderous intent surged towards the Dragon Palace. Walala! When they entered the ocean where the Dragon Palace was, the seawater flowed backward rapidly. A vacuum was formed rapidly. As the two legions advanced, the seawater also began to flow backward. Dragon King of the Dragon Palace, I'll give you a chance. Submit to the Orthodox god races and become our mounts. Otherwise, even if you escape to any corner of the universe, even if it takes hundreds of millions of years, the Orthodox god races will annihilate you. The two legions were only hundreds of millions of kilometers away from the Dragon Palace. At this distance, Wang Xian had already entered the attack range. The two Laozu from the Orthodox deities stood on their upright deity battle bodies and looked at Wang Xian, who was drinking tea at the table in front of the Dragon Palace. Their eyes were filled with violent killing intent as they bellowed. A rank 7 universe venerable Dragon King? Against the entire Orthodox god race, they were confident that they could annihilate the Dragon King within a minute. They weren't surprised that only the Dragon King was waiting in front of the Dragon Palace. To them, the Dragon Palace was no match for them. The other members didn't dare to come out. Interesting. Making the disciples of the Dragon Palace the mounts of the Orthodox god races? Upon hearing their words, Wang Xian revealed a smile. Our Dragon Palace has been waiting for you for a long time. Welcome, distinguished guests, haha. He laughed and said, When the two Laozu from the Orthodox celestial races saw how brazen Wang Xian was, their eyes were filled with shock and coldness. Dragon King, you killed 20 astral beasts of my Gu Hai race. Today, I will kill all the disciples of your divine Dragon Palace. The Gu Hai race's clan head roared with a murderous expression. Ignorant. Wang Xian shook his head and stood up slowly. Disciples of Dragon Palace, get ready to welcome the guests. Treat them well and leave no one alive. He got up, and his calm voice spread throughout the Dragon Palace. Woo woo woo. Inside the Dragon Palace, Xiao Lan's muffled roar came first. Ha ha ha, formation rise. Tian Zhan's laughter rang out, and the surrounding void immediately began to change. The entire starry sky changed drastically and was enveloped by 9-colored radiance. The light covered everyone from the righteous god race and the ancient sea race, following which, the members of the Dragon Palace walked out one by one. 9 wind divine dragons, 2 fire divine dragons, 1 thunder dragon, 1 darkness dragon, 1 gold dragon, and 1 water divine dragon. Each of the divine dragons contained a strong dragon aura. Even if they did not release their aura, one could tell how terrifying they were. There are so many purebred divine dragons in this dragon palace. When the experts from the orthodox celestial races saw the purebred divine dragons of the dragon palace, they were shocked. It would be great if these purebred divine dragons could be our mounts. How dare they go against us? Hee, they must be courting death. The group of experts and disciples from the orthodox celestial races said coldly. As for the radiance that enveloped them, they did not take it to heart at all. An array that could only interfere with rank 6 universe venerables had no effect on them. Oh, you want to go against us? When the two Laozu from the orthodox celestial races saw the members of the Dragon Palace walking out one after another, they revealed a stern look. You must be courting death. Since you refuse to submit, then die. The patriarch of the orthodox celestial races roared and raised the acquired treasures in his hands. All disciples of the orthodox celestial races, get ready. The Dragon Palace obstructed us from disembarking. We will make them pay the price in blood. Get ready. Kill. Kill, 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 kill. All the experts and disciples of the orthodox celestial races roared coldly. They stared coldly at the Dragon Palace. Over there, the experts of the Dragon Palace walked out one after another. All of them were universe venerables, emitting a strong aura. However, they did not react at all. This time, there were a total of 17,000 to 18,000 universe supremacies from the two great clans. They have some strength. When the 10,000 universe venerables of the Dragon Palace came out, the orthodox celestial races were surprised. 10,000 universe venerables, this surprised them. The rise of the Dragon Palace had not been long. There's more. However, they were shocked to discover that the members that walked out of the Dragon Palace were also universe venerables. At the exit of the Dragon Palace, 2,000 members walked out at once. In other words, the number of universe venerables in the Dragon Palace had reached 12,000. Very soon, more and more experts walked out of the Dragon Palace. 14,000, 16,000, 20,000, 30,000. As more and more universe venerables came out, the orthodox celestial races and the ancient sea race could no longer remain calm. At first, they were surprised, then shocked, and now they were a little flustered. The prowess of the two superpowers, that sharp killing intent, and the berserk aura were gradually decreasing. However, the experts from the Dragon Palace were still coming out continuously. Damn it! Why are there so many universe venerables in the Dragon Palace? When the number reached 40,000, the two elders from the orthodox celestial races could no longer remain calm. They roared with ugly expressions. Hurry up! At this moment, Prime Minister Turtle's voice was heard. In the next moment, another 20,000 universe venerables charged out. Closely following that, many Void God Emperor disciples who were emitting powerful auras appeared. Damn it! 60,000 universe venerables. How is this possible? How is this possible? When the experts from the ancient sea race saw the number of experts from the Dragon Palace, their bodies trembled, and they could not help but roar. More than 60,000 universe venerables, 10 times their number. The number of experts that was 10 times their own made their scalps go numb. Gulp. All the experts and disciples from the orthodox celestial races swallowed their saliva, their faces showing a tinge of fear. There were too many experts in the Dragon Palace. Since you are here, don't think of leaving. Wang Xian looked at them with a smile. In the next moment, all the members of the Dragon Palace roared in unison, their prowess exploding. Chapter 3291. Annihilation of the two races in a short time below. Boom, boom, boom. Waves of horrifying aura surged forward. The massive dragon aura engulfed the entire area. When the might of the Dragon Palace surged towards the two major races, all the experts and disciples of the principal god race, the ancient sea race, revealed horrified expressions. Especially the two patriarchs of the ancient sea race. Their expressions changed drastically. They stared at the dark dragon beside Wang Xian as their hearts raced. They could feel the aura of the same level from the dark dragon. In fact, because the other party was a divine dragon, his aura was stronger than theirs. Dragon Palace had over 60,000 universe venerables. They could barely accept it because they had 2 universe venerables with level 7 fighting strength and a powerful god body. In terms of high-end combat power, they had a huge advantage. But now, when the Dragon Palace unleashed a rank 7 universe supremacy divine dragon, their expressions changed drastically. With such a force, it was wishful thinking for the upright god race to annihilate the Dragon Palace. With the Dark Dragon and the Dragon King of the Dragon Palace, the strength of the Dragon Palace was not much weaker than the upright god race. In particular, there were too many universe supremacies in the Dragon Palace. At this moment, all the experts and disciples of the ancient sea race were even more horrified. Given the strength of the Dragon Palace, it would be a piece of cake for them to annihilate the ancient sea race. Damn it! Retreat! Retreat! The 2 patriarchs of the upright god race bellowed in a low voice. This time, the upright god race suffered a huge loss. Not only did they fail to annihilate the Dragon Palace, but they also offended the Dragon Palace. They had also given up on the landing battle. This huge loss was hard for them to accept. But under such circumstances, if they continued to fight, their losses would be even greater. They could only retreat. 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 The experts of the ancient sea race roared when they heard the words of the patriarchs of the upright god race. Damn it, we are no match for them at all. I've said, since you are here, don't leave. Kill all of them. Wang Xian looked at them with a mocking look on his face. He immediately ordered loudly, roar, roar. In the next moment, the members of the Dragon Palace charged forward without any hesitation. Dragon King, don't be arrogant. Do you really think that we're afraid of you? In terms of high-end combat power, your Dragon Palace is no match for us. Seeing that the Dragon Palace dared to attack them directly, the patriarchs of the upright gods roared with an ugly expression. According to the Dragon Palace's aura, the Dragon Palace had fewer rank 6 venerables than them. Furthermore, the Dragon Palace only had 2 level 7 venerables. If they really fought, the righteous god races might not be afraid. They just didn't want to suffer too many losses. The Dragon Palace's insatiable behavior infuriated them. The 2 Laozu from the orthodox celestial races stared at Wang Xian with murderous intent in their eyes. Haha, you're courting death. I said I'll kill you today, so I'll kill you today. Wang Xian laughed hysterically. In the next moment, the unbeginning sacred wings appeared behind him. With a shift of his body, he disappeared instantly. When the 2 elders from the orthodox gods saw Wang Xian vanishing in an instant, their pupils constricted. Who gave you the courage to destroy the Dragon Palace? In the next moment, Wang Xian's voice rang in their ears. Hearing this voice so close to them, the expressions of the 2 patriarchs from the righteous god clans changed drastically. Their bodies trembled as they looked in front of them. In front of them, there was only a distance of 5 meters. The Dragon King was only 5 meters away from them. However, they didn't notice any of this. Gulp. The 2 of them swallowed their saliva as cold sweat broke out on their foreheads. Their bodies trembled. Not arrogant anymore? Wang Xian looked at them with a smile. How is this possible? How is this possible? One of the patriarchs from the orthodox gods roared in disbelief. His eyes were filled with despair. Killing you is like slaughtering dogs. Wang Xian smiled and stretched out his palm. Run, run, run. Without any hesitation, the 2 of them fled to the side. But in the next moment, Wang Xian disappeared. When he appeared again, he was holding the 2 patriarchs from the orthodox gods in his hands. Whoosh whoosh. At this moment, everyone in front of them stared blankly at the 2 figures in the hands of the Dragon King. All they could see was darkness. It was especially so for the experts from the orthodox god races. Those were their patriarchs. A rank 7 universe supremacy was subdued by the Dragon King in an instant. How strong was the Dragon King? It's over. We're finished. We're finished. The group of rank 6 universe supremacies from the orthodox god races screamed in fear when they saw this. Run, run, run. Run as much as you can. The leader of the orthodox god races screamed. The Dragon King isn't a rank 7 universe supremacy. He's even stronger. How is this possible? No, No, no. On the Gu High Race's side, when the Gu High Race's clan head saw this scene, his face filled with disbelief and despair. They were on the verge of breaking down. The Dragon Palace had over 60,000 universe supremacies. Moreover, the Dragon King's strength was above rank 7 universe supremacy. The two patriarchs from the Orthodox god races were instantly killed. How could they fight? They could only wait for death. Bam! At this moment, the two patriarchs from the Orthodox god races were thrown towards the Dragon Palace. The Dragon King waved his arm and a horrifying treasure attacked the Orthodox god races while he closed his eyes and hovered in the air. Run, run. The experts of the Orthodox god races saw their patriarchs being killed and the Dragon King hovering in the air with his eyes closed. To them, this was a chance for survival. They ran for their lives. However, to the horror of the Orthodox god race leaders and the group of rank 6 universe supremacies, the disc-like treasure emitted a despairing aura as it attacked them. Roar, roar, roar. The 5 divine dragons on the 5 elements grindstone roared in unison as a powerful aura swept out. The group of rank 6 supremacies felt as though the stars were pressing down on them. Unstoppable, unstoppable. We're completely finished. Just one treasure was enough to render them defenseless. They knew that the Orthodox god races were completely finished. Rumble. A horrifying energy swept out, and the 22 rank 6 supremacies from the Orthodox god races died instantly. Roar, 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 roar. Dragon of Darkness roared as it charged towards the Gu High race. Terrifying demonic flames covered the sky. Xiao Lan let out a low growl as it locked its gaze on the 90 galactic mastiffs and charged over. Wait for death. At this moment, all the experts and disciples of the Orthodox god races and Gu High race lost their will to fight. Chapter 3292. Arg. Screams rang out in front of the Dragon Palace. How could they fight? The Dragon King easily killed the 2 patriarchs of the Orthodox god races. The rest of the rank 6 supremacies were killed by the Dragon King's treasure. How could they fight against such terrifying strength? The surrounding void was shrouded in arrays. They could not escape even if they wanted to. Death was their only destination. What happened next was what the disciples and experts of the 2 races had expected. The ancient sea race could not defend against the attack of the rank 7 demon dragon. The 90 galactic beasts were no match for the demon dragon even if they attacked with all their might. Moreover, the Dragon Palace also had extremely powerful galactic beasts. It was a one-sided massacre in the following moments. They could not escape or hide. They wanted to surrender, but there was no response. At this moment, all the disciples and experts of the 2 races had given up. The difference was too great. They had never imagined that the current Dragon Palace would be so terrifying. They could only blame themselves for kicking an iron plate. They could have survived if they begged for mercy, but they had come to destroy the Dragon Palace. Just as the Dragon King had said, they had been waiting for a long time. They had been waiting for a month to send themselves to their deaths. Phew! Not a bad haul this time. Wang Xian floated in the air, opened his eyes slowly, and revealed a faint smile. He had used the soul-manipulating technique to read the memories of the 2 patriarchs of the Orthodox god races. This time, the Orthodox god races had hidden the god nations of all their experts and disciples in one place for the battle. In addition, all their treasures were placed in one place. According to the information he had obtained, the treasures in the treasure vault of the Orthodox god races were huge. As the strongest force in the starry sky, they had more resources than the demon dragon lineage. What a nice guy. Wang Xian smiled and swept his gaze across the surroundings. The battle was coming to an end. Although the tens of millions of elite core disciples of the 2 races were a lot, the overall strength of the Dragon Palace was much weaker, especially the number of supremacies in the Dragon Palace. After the massacre of over 60,000 supremacies, the 2 races were left with few people. Some members of the Dragon Palace had already begun to collect the spoils of war. The righteous god races have 7 acquired treasures. That's not a small number. They have nearly 200 acquired treasures. Wang Xian murmured, Dragon King. At this moment, Orochi, who was parasitizing the Gu Hai race's patriarch, flew over and shouted with a smile. "Bring people to the ancient sea races and bring all their treasures over," Wang Xian instructed him. "It's Dragon King." Yamada no Orochi immediately responded. "The rest of the disciples of Dragon Palace, collect the corpses. Let's go. This time, we will take Dragon Palace to the starry sky," said Wang Xian with a smile as he swept his gaze across all the members. This time, the Dragon Palace had annihilated the principal god race and the ancient sea race. He was prepared to move the Dragon Palace to the continental encirclement starry sky. The current Dragon Palace was an invincible existence in the entire continental encirclement starry sky. Next, after digesting the resources of the two forces, they could embark. However, before landing, they had to head to the continental encirclement space to understand the situation. "It's Dragon King." All the members of Dragon Palace responded immediately. Half an hour later, the battlefield was cleaned up and all the corpses were placed into the Dragon Palace. "Let's go." When Wang Xian arrived at the Dragon Palace, the entire Dragon Palace began to rise and fly rapidly towards the direction of the continental encirclement starry sky. Around the Dragon Palace were the Fire Dragon Palace, the Dark Demon Dragon World, the Crimson Gold Battle Dragon, and the Wind Thunder Divine Dragon Palace. The Dragon Palaces of the Crimson Gold Battle Dragon and Wind Thunder Celestial Dragon were being devoured by Aosia and the others. However, as the level of the Dragon Palace was too high, they needed a long time to digest it. The 5 Dragon Palaces flew in the starry sky, emitting a terrifying aura. At this moment, when all the forces and experts in the galaxy saw Dragon Palace leaving, their faces were filled with shock. They naturally knew that the principal god races, the ancient sea races, wanted to destroy the Dragon Palace. When the two races entered the Star River starry sky, many forces sensed their terror. That aura made them not dare to approach. They thought that an earth-shattering battle was about to break out, but they didn't expect that the Dragon Palace would leave in such a short time and fly towards the continental encirclement starry sky. Where are the people of the righteous god race, the ancient sea race? Everyone in the Star River starry sky was shocked, and they were discussing it on the AI. Where were the people from the two races? The Dragon Palace flew quickly towards the continental encirclement starry sky. The battle with the Dragon Palace had ended, and the two major forces were destroyed. Because the forces in the continental encirclement starry sky were too far away, they didn't receive any news. On the AI, people were still discussing how the battle would turn out. There were even forces that started betting on what the final outcome would be. However, not long after, the ancient sea races released a shocking piece of news. The experts of the ancient sea races who stayed behind revealed that the spirit tablets of all the experts of the ancient sea races who went to attack the Dragon Palace had cracked. The cracking of the spirit tablets meant that all the experts were dead. All the experts of the ancient sea races were dead? After receiving this news, everyone's faces were filled with shock. One should know that the ancient sea races went with the principal god races this time. All the experts of the ancient sea races were dead. What about the principal god races? What was going on in this battle? Did the Dragon Palace win? Countless people discussed in shock on the AI of the continental encirclement starry sky. All the experts of the ancient sea races were killed. This news was too shocking. Some people even couldn't believe it. This was because the two races went together. If one race was destroyed, it meant that the battle might have ended. Otherwise, how could all the experts and disciples of the ancient sea races be dead? Dragon King, the continental encirclement starry sky, has received news of the annihilation of the ancient sea races. In the starry sky, the Dragon Palace flew rapidly. Prime Minister Turtle came to the Dragon King Hall and reported to Wang Xian. Inform them that we have annihilated the ancient sea races and the principal god races. We can ignore the remaining disciples. However, no one is to prepare the treasures of the two races. Whoever touches will be killed. When Wang Xian received this news, his eyes flickered as he gave the order. Yes, Dragon King. Prime Minister Turtle replied immediately. He took out the AI and immediately issued a statement in the name of the Dragon Palace. This statement was also what Wang Xian had said. Dragon Palace. The ancient sea races and the principal god races have been annihilated by the Dragon Palace. we can ignore the remaining disciples of the two races. However, no one is to prepare the treasures of the two races. Whoever touches will be killed. You're tuning in to the Warrior Lore YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.